What's up? Let's get it going here on another edition of Why Start a Podcast. I'm Braden Surprenant. He's Matt Perez. That's Will Galvez. And together we are Gaslamp's Finest Media. We are Why Start a Podcast as our main flagship podcast of the Gaslamp Media projects. And we got a lot to talk about today as it's March Madness time. It's San Diego Padres baseball opening day. It's within 24 hours. Can't even tell you how many hours we got. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. We're within 9 hours of Padres baseball as they start their regular season in Korea. So today's going to be a March Madness preview as well as a San Diego Padres 2024 season preview as well. Kind of roping those in together for the main part of our show. Matt has prepared a great college basketball trivia game in the middle of the two things as well. So it's going to be fun. And so thanks again for tuning in with us, whether you're on Instagram or Twitter, X, whatever it's called, YouTube, or you're streaming live. Again, we got my Twitter account, Gaslamp's Finest, at Gaslamp's Finest on social media. You can also watch our YouTube pages, and we're also live on Instagram on my Instagram account as well. So feel free to comment, subscribe, like, all that stuff while Matt Perez fixes the lights and we get dialed in for some March. It's March.
Yes.
We got a lot of videos out from last week, 2 weeks ago, since we were off last week. Those are posted on our social media pages, but I know you guys are both excited for March. We'll start with Will, who's champing at the bit to get on today. What do we got today, Will?
Champing at the bit. I like it. I should ask you first what your sleep schedule is going to be, because I don't know what I'm going to do. I might just stay up and just get pissed off at the Padres playing the Dodgers if they lose, and then it'll just roll right into March Madness. No, I'm good, man. This is the best time of the year. And who would have guessed this in 100 years that we would parlay the Padres playing in Korea with March Madness? I'm all here. I'm all for it. It's hard to contain my excitement. I'm getting fired up. I can't focus at work. Haven't been able to concentrate. I just want Thursday here already, and it's going to be a great weekend.
It is going to be a great weekend. I'm looking forward to some great college basketball. I know you, Will, are getting all of your work done in the next 2 days in order to watch a lot of college basketball and loiter at your house all day. So that should be a fun time for you. We could get into the best strategy of consuming the Padres in the next 48 hours with the two games at 3 a.m. in just a second. But I do want to talk to Mr. March himself, and that'd be Matt Perez, who is constantly talking about March throughout the entire 365 days of the year. He's a mini John Rothstein, this Matt Perez, as he is a diehard Villanova basketball fan for no apparent reason. But Washington State is in the tournament this year. So that might be a little bit different of a March for Matt Perez. You threw some shade at him last episode. I know that because I had to go through and edit all the videos. But Matt's fired up for March. This is March. This is where I'm going to get a bunch of memes sent to me by him, his friend Kyle, his friend David, about this being March and we sleep in May and all the John Rothstein isms. So without further, I know you're just so excited and ready to go, but this is Matt Perez's time right now.
I'm in some uncharted waters seeing Washington State in the NCAA tournament.
Oh no.
I mean, first time in 16 years. You got to think like a 16-year drought.
How old
are you?
Anything. 24?
24, I'll be 25 soon.
20. Yeah. Well, most of your lifetime, you've never seen the Cougs in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah. I mean, I'm fired up. I'm like, well, this is the absolute best 48 hours or 96 hours. You want to go all the way to the end of the round of 32 to be a sports fan. It's just wall to wall from you wake up to the time that you go to bed. Nonstop games, nonstop bets, nonstop brackets being busted. There's just so much that goes on. There's so many storylines to look at when you look at the bracket. And I can't wait to get into it here pretty soon.
Yeah, I'm all about this. It could be pretty fun to break down. Let's start talking about this NCAA bracket and kind of try to piece together what's going on with this thing. And I think I could probably throw up some of the stuff here in a second. But first of all, are you guys done filling out your brackets?
No, I'll fill another
I
one.
am about I'm about to the Elite Eight. I just keep like stumbling over myself on picks, not trying to do too much chalk while simultaneously picking the right amount of upsets while still giving the Mountain West love. I'm not completely done. Matt, are you done? Braden, are you done?
No, I'm not even close to starting.
Yeah, no, I just like looking at it. I just like when I printed it out the other day, it was glorious. I still
Well,
print it out. I don't give a fuck. I think it's cool. Everyone's still like, I'll do it on the app, whatever. But it just takes me back to when I was like a kid and I would just fill it out and just look at it and like, no, cross this out. No, cross this out. No, I don't like them. No, I like this. Paralysis by analysis. I think I've consumed too much data at this point too. So it's going to get down to the nitty gritty where I'm going to, I'll pick my winner. But again, I can't echo enough how it's going to be a crazy tournament. We've been saying for like 3 weeks how much parity there is in this sport, right? Yeah, everyone wants to chalk UConn. I'll save it. Save it. Yeah.
Let's talk about overall the bracket and some things that stood out to you when you were watching on Selection Sunday. Teams that got in that you weren't expecting to get in, schools that did not get in, that got hosed. Maybe some too high of seedings, too low of seedings. Matt, what was your initial reaction to the bracket?
That the Big East got screwed.
Cover the Big East guy over here.
St. John's, Seton Hall, Providence. Those are 3 schools that should have made it. St. John's has more quad 1 wins than a lot of teams that made it into the tournament.
Huge Patino guy.
I think Rick's a great coach.
Recruiter,
the guy got there in 1 year and he basically turned around St. John's. Basically the snub of the Big East. And then what was weird is that like there was the 6 Mountain West teams that got in, and 2 of them are in the first 4. And the first 4 games are in the 2 10 seeds, right?
They got hosed too, I thought.
Slightly, but they have more teams in the dance.
Well, at least they're in, right?
Exactly.
But at the same time, it's so weird. It's like the committee gave them a respect, but not really.
Right.
Like they were good enough to get in. They're like, well, we know it's a good conference, so we're going to get these teams in, but we're not going to give them any good seedings in there as well. They didn't earn that part. And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that I think San Diego State's non-conference carried the rest of the Mountain West Conference. And they had some good wins. I mean, Nevada beat TCU, and Colorado State had some good wins during their non-con, and it's not like they were all atrocious. But the thing I thought was interesting is, the guy that was in charge of the committee, he basically admitted to having to throw away their bracket and redo it because they weren't expecting New Mexico to beat San Diego State, and they weren't going to have New Mexico in. And I thought, and John Rothstein even said it after New Mexico won to go to the semifinals of the Mountain West Conference. John Rothstein's like, it's a lock. New Mexico's in. There's no more, there's nothing else that they need to do. Sounds like if they didn't win the Mountain West tournament, they would have been out and they wouldn't even have been in the NCAA tournament.
Which is crazy. No, the automatic qualifiers was another enormous thing. That includes New Mexico. Excuse me, Duquesne, Oregon, who was the other, and then NC State. I mean, that threw the biggest wrench in everything because you started seeing the bubble like in real time shrink, and you're thinking, oh no, they're in. Like all these teams that are winning, they're in. And the fact that the Big East, whatever, sorry, Matt, the Big East guy, they can have another year. They're going to be okay. No, back to what you guys were saying with the Mountain West being slighted. That kind of blows my mind. The fact that even with New Mexico winning, and I would say I think they're going to go on a run. To be honest, I would be nervous to play them. This for the committee to do this was. I mean, do you trust them at this point? Did they make the right moves? Like, I understand, like the UVA getting in, like over Oklahoma. There's a lot of discrepancies, and then you have the whole crowd that wants to expand the field too, which I completely disagree with. I don't think that. I think it's perfect where it's at. It just created chaos on that last, on Selection Sunday, and now we're sitting here kind of just they were splitting hairs, and now we're kind of just discussing it too.
Well, there's a couple of things that stood out to me. Matt said the first thing with the Big East. I don't know about all 3 of those teams getting in, but St. John's not getting it over Virginia was a joke. because St. John's was just, a lot better than Virginia. That was one thing that stood out to me. Number 2, why is Florida Atlantic an 8 seed? Florida Atlantic's got 2 quad 4 losses. They didn't have that great of a non-conference schedule, and it just seemed like they were riding the coattails of their Final Four appearance from a year ago, which I thought was kind of ridiculous that they were ranked so high. San Diego State getting a 5, that stood out to me in a couple of things because, one, they finished 5th in their conference, yet they have the best seed by far out of any Mountain West school, which tells me a couple of things. One, San Diego State has earned the respect as a basketball program, and I think the Final Four went a long way for them. And 2, they valued the non-conference of San Diego State and the Mountain West over conference play, where San Diego State couldn't win a road game, to save their lives. And they got a 5, but then the next best team who actually won the conference, Utah State, got an 8 and had to get paired up with a Big 12 school in the first round. So that was another thing that really stood out to me in terms of the seeding. And the last thing, I thought the Big 12 they got the most teams in tie with the SEC, which I thought was a joke that the SEC was trading blows with the Big 12 in terms of the amount of teams coming in. I think that was a little iffy. I don't think there's 8 quality teams in the SEC as compared to the Big 12. I think Oklahoma kind of got ripped off not being in. It should have been 9 teams to the Big 12. But I didn't think the committee really valued the Big 12 in terms of their overall seeding. Some of them were pretty low in comparison to what they expected to get. Which also stood out to me. But, you mentioned the expansion. I find that very hard. I mean, I find that very hard to be anything more than let's get more Power 5 schools into this tournament. We don't care about anything else. In my opinion, if you're going to, and I'm against expanding the tournament, and Matt, I'm going to want your answer on this. In my opinion, if you're going to expand the NCAA tournament, you got to make a rule where you get the regular season champ of each conference in and the tournament champ for each conference in. And if it's the same team, then you lose a bid or do something like that because, teams like UC Irvine not being in the NCAA tournament because their conference decided to have their tournament winner go in is just, it's so dumb to me. And it's kind of the one bid leagues, it eliminates why you even play the games in the regular season. You just got to play a weekend tournament.
I mean, you hit the nail on the head, right? It's like these teams from all these small schools. You mentioned UC Irvine, you mentioned High Point, right?
Right.
They're the best team in their conference for 2.5 months, right?
The whole round robin. They played a round robin.
Usually that would signify that you're a pretty damn good team and you deserve some postseason hoops. And then to say, okay, hey, you know what? You got cold in a 40-minute stretch and sorry, you got to play in the CBI or the NIT, and most of these teams aren't even playing in that tournament anymore.
Which that's a side story. That also
is a
joke.
Story. But I think you got to reward the regular season winner because that's a larger body of work. Because a lot of these schools, even schools that kind of faltered towards the end, they got in because of their body of work when they were beating other Power 5 teams that were quad 1, quad 2 wins. Right. And just because other schools don't get that opportunity because of scheduling or whatever, it's unfair to penalize them when you know that they're good. You have metrics to look at how good they are. If you don't even believe the eye test or you don't believe in their competition, you can still look at other things that prove, hey, this team is better than other Power 5 schools that we want to put in front of them.
The NIT thing is a total joke at the end of the day when it comes to, whatever the who gets in and who doesn't, and the fact that they're only going with, we only want Power 5 programs in there, but none of the Power 5 programs want to be in the NIT at this point. I mean, we can have an entire podcast on the NIT, but continuing with the NCAA tournament, anything else that stood out to anybody, or I think we covered all the bases there.
Just one quick thing, that East bracket featuring San Diego State,
the Final Four,
Washington State is loaded.
So dumb.
There's like 10. There's like 10 schools that won their conference tournament that are on that side.
The Big 12, the Big 10, the Big East.
Yeah.
Like what? Why is the committee so infatuated with always having San Diego State in your UConn? I mean, this has gone back like 10 years now. It's ridiculous. You look at some of the these other potential cakewalks, like Arizona, right? Speaking really fast, one last thing on the UCI. They should have fired their coach before the tournament and just had them go on a run, and maybe that would have sparked them. But that I digress. That's the Big West. But yeah, Matt, the East, man, just beast all over. Like it's a gauntlet.
I mean, there's like no matchup. I mean, maybe the only one where you could say that is, kind of would be the San Diego State and UAB, where it's like State should win that game. But like you could see Drake beating Washington State. You could see Morehead State winning that game. I don't think it's a good matchup for them, but they were a really good team. That probably if they were 15, they would have been a very popular team to be at 15 to beat it too. Duquesne and BYU.
That could be an
Auburn
upset.
and Yale. I mean, Yale's always a team that it's like, you see them every
Yale
year.
shouldn't even have been in. That should be Brown.
Right.
That was terrible.
Right, exactly. And that goes back to kind of like what we were just, saying. But that entire East region, and then you got the 3 teams that were in the Final Four last year, all grouped up right at the top. Should make for some pretty exciting hoops. And I don't know if UConn's gonna be able to get out of that, to be honest with you.
I still think, UConn's they have a lot of potential problems in that bracket with, FAU, who was in the Final Four last year, San Diego State, who they played in the national championship last year. Auburn's a really good basketball team too. BYU, you don't know what BYU team's going to show up. If they shoot, they're going to be really good. If they don't shoot, they're terrible. The Cougs had a great season for Washington State. Iowa State is playing red hot right now, but that was the last thing I really wanted to talk about. I'm glad you brought it up. Is like the three teams from the Final Four a year ago, just all right next to each other in the East bracket. I thought that was very odd. I did see, if you look at the overall seeding list from 1 through 68, BYU dropped to a 6 because they can't play on a Sunday. And so they have to play. They're a 6 seed now instead of a 5 seed in the NCAA tournament because they got to play on the Thursday, Friday slate and not the Thursday, Saturday slate, not the Friday, Sunday slate, because they can't play on Sundays. So I thought that was a little interesting too. You mentioned the East. Let's talk about the East. I think I could share the bracket real quick. That's the relatively the top half of the bracket for the East region. As Perez mentioned, UConn, the number 1 seed, they're taking on Stetson. The Hatters. We know a Hatters fan's excited for the Stetson Hatters to be in the NCAA tournament. They had a very mediocre season this year.
First time.
That's right, for the Hats.
The Hats going dancing.
Florida Atlantic Northwestern is going to be a pretty good matchup. The 8-9s always are. San Diego State, UAB, Auburn, Yale. Let's talk about the top half of this bracket before we move to the rest. I think UConn, obviously, by far is the best. I think it's going to be very difficult to beat them. The fact that they get to be, in Boston in the Sweet 16, obviously they're number 1 team in the tournament, so they're going to get a great spot there. That's going to be difficult for a team like San Diego State to fly over there and knock them off. But, to me, it's UConn to win that kind of group of 8 teams right there. I think San Diego State is a dark horse because you don't know what you're going to get out of the Aztecs. In terms of their talent, I'm curious to see how FAU does because I think they're ranked a little high. And then, give me Yale to be one of those upset specials in that group.
Wow. Giving a lot of love to the Ivy League. Okay. Wow.
So give me a clear-cut favorite, a dark horse, and an upset special.
I mean, obviously the favorite's going to be UConn. I just more than half of America is probably going to choose them to win it all. FAU, I don't know if they're, have kind of still riding the high from last year. I don't know. They seem like a team that underachieved. Northwestern, they're really injured. I'm still going with San Diego State as a dark. No, because you already have that. I'll say Auburn. They won the SEC. There's someone that is stacked enough that could take down UConn potentially in the Sweet 16. What was the other one you said?
What was your upset?
Favorite dark an upset? I mean, I want to go Duquesne. They really were not supposed to be there. They're one of the bid stealers that caused being an automatic qualifier for other teams to kind of get kicked out. If BYU's off that day, which is very conceivable, you never know because you need 2 hours of the best basketball from each team. I would say Duquesne is the upset.
I'm going to echo what you said about UConn. Winning the Big East tournament proves that you're probably the best team in the league, or probably the best team in the country. You deserve to be a number one, especially with that record that they got. It's not really much of an upset, I guess, but I would take Northwestern over Florida Atlantic, just for all the reasons what we said about FAU, and I like Boo Booey, guy's a hooper. And they play in the Big Ten. I mean, they play some real competition night in and night out. So I guess that would be my quote unquote upset. And then I'll take the Aztecs and I'll take Auburn to win, but I would take Auburn to beat San Diego State in the round of 32. I think the Aztecs got some flaws just this late in the season that you can't really correct. And usually these are the flaws that will bite you in the butt in March when it comes to your backcourt play and kind of how you start games.
This is an Aztec team that's like the Sweet 16 Aztec teams where they have one really good player that kind of carries everybody else. And a good supporting cast, but not a great supporting cast. Yeah. Whereas last year had a great supporting cast and had a very deep team and had really good guard play, and a big reason why they went to the NCAA Final Four and ultimately the championship. That's the top half of the East region. Let's go to the bottom half. BYU, the 6th seed, taking on Duquesne, the 11th seed, Illinois, Morehead State, Matt's Cougars of Washington State against Drake, and Iowa State versus South Dakota State. Iowa State's playing really good basketball right now. I know they've been notorious to choke, but I really like Iowa State, obviously, chalk to make it through that group right there. Very favorable location for them, too, in Omaha. A second favorite team in this group, I think, is kind of a dark horse, would be BYU. And again, they're a dark horse because I don't know, what BYU team you're going to get. I think Washington State's got a really good chance to potentially upset Iowa State. I don't know if you can really count that as an upset, but the 7-10 matchup I think is going to be a pretty good one between Washington State and Drake. Not really in on Morehead State getting a win, or South Dakota State, or even Duquesne, but you never know in the NCAA tournament. Matt, your thoughts on the bottom half of the East?
I would probably roll with the favorites. With the 6th seed right there with BYU and the Fighting Illini as a 3, Big Ten champions, take them. And then the Cougs as a 7. They are an underdog. They're a 1.5 point underdog against a 10, which is slightly concerning. But just given the style of how Drake kind of plays and how the Washington State plays, Washington State will slow them down and not get them. Hopefully not have Drake play their game. And I think the length for Washington State, they're I think the second tallest Power 5 team in the country. So that would give a team like Drake or another mid-major some fits. And then Iowa State, they're on fire right now. And if we did get an Iowa State-Washington State matchup, I think that total for that game might be around 110, just given how those two teams kind of play and how they kind of want games to go and how they win. That would be an extremely low total, but I think it is kind of chalky on this bottom half.
Jay Billis has chalk all the way through except for Drake beating Washington State.
Well,
what a win sock.
That's why he's a win sock.
That's a win sock.
Thanks, Jay.
Will, bottom half of the East.
I already kind of highlighted it, but Duquesne, I want to pick them out of this bracket to be the upset. I like what I've seen from BYU, but I just feel like Duquesne, coming off of a pretty good, strong weekend of winning the tournament there, should be fine. Terrence Shannon Jr. and Domask are beasts, and I think I'm still riding high from the Big Ten title game. Don't know too much about Morehead State. I don't know. If they lose, would I be surprised? Absolutely not. I'm going to take Drake as well. Sorry, Matt. Tucker DeVries, I think he's a really solid guard that I think he's going to get his own against you guys. I'll give you the length and I'll give you, the speed and everything you bring. It's a great story. But I do like that 7-10 upset. Iowa State is the most interesting one. Braden, you watch more Big 12 basketball out of all of us. I think after the performance against Houston that they honestly should have been the 1 seed. But the committee had other opinions.
Houston destroyed them twice in the regular season, by the way.
I know
Houston's best players had limited minutes in that game of the championship, almost like they could care less about the conference tournament.
That still doesn't matter, though. I mean, you take it from that. Okay, it was a different team though. A few months ago, it's what they're playing right now. I don't know.
They didn't play their guys. I mean, they just were they had limited minutes. They were just resting everybody for the tournament. I mean, I can't overvalue that game where one, especially in conference tournaments where one team always really wants to be there and the other team's like, well, it doesn't really matter. We already won our conference. So
rest versus rust, I don't know, but they're a really solid team. Chalk, obviously, South Dakota State's never won a tournament game. I think they've been there like 7 times. So
that's
yeah, so not too much love there. Yeah, I think I would cover. I don't even know what the spread is in that game. I'm pretty sure they just kicked their ass.
Sweet 16 for me out of that group. I'd take UConn, San Diego State, even though I'm kind of iffy on that. I'm going to be a homer on that one. BYU and Iowa State. I think Iowa State and UConn go to the Elite Eight, and I'll take UConn out of the East.
I'll go UConn, Auburn, Illinois. I'll go Washington State. Why not?
Well, what a homer.
Let's go and give me the Cougs, and it'll probably end there.
Cougs over Drake and Iowa State.
Hey, I could see it.
Who's your Elite Eight?
Give me the Wheatfield underdogs.
Who's your Elite Eight?
I would go with UConn and Illinois. UConn.
All right, UConn going.
Yeah.
Will?
The Sweet 16, I'm going to take UConn. I'm going to take my beloved Aztecs. I think they win 2 rock fights in the first 2 rounds. You never know. That's why it's March, and that's why it's madness. If they could beat them, that would be great. I want to have Illinois advancing. I think they'd be the first Big Ten champion in over a decade to make it to the Sweet 16. And I would have them playing, sorry, Matt, as I mentioned, Drake. I think they're going to handle business against ISU. You mentioned it, Braden. They're wildly inconsistent. We saw it the entire year. Yeah, you know what? If it was a fluke and Houston was resting their players, then that should have been the result. So am I picking too many upsets? Probably, but that's why I love this time of the year, and it's absolutely great. So that's who I have.
Let's get to the West region. North Carolina will play Wagner, who upset Howard, or I don't really know if an upset, but they beat Howard earlier today. Mississippi State, the 8 versus 9 seed Michigan State. St. Mary's, Grand Canyon, Alabama, Charleston, Clemson, or New Mexico, Baylor, Colgate, Dayton, Nevada, and Arizona, and Long Beach State. Let's focus on the top half. And when looking at the top half here, let's take a look at okay. North Carolina, Wagner, Mississippi State, Michigan State, St. Mary's, Grand Canyon, Alabama, Charleston. I like the 5-12 and the 4-13 matchups. I think that's going to be very interesting. I really like North Carolina, but I'm not like super sold on them. Obviously, they would be the favorite in this one. As for your dark horse winner, St. Mary's they're a really good basketball team. I really like the way that they play. I saw them play a couple of times this year doing games for USD. So they'll be my dark horse, but same thing, upset special. Grand Canyon is a really good basketball team too. I could see them making the Sweet 16 as well. Matt, your thoughts on the top half?
North Carolina is probably the favorite here until they run into Arizona later on. Just kind of make their way through. Michigan State over Mississippi State. Mississippi State beat Washington State earlier in the year on a neutral court game. But I think given what's the John Rothstein saying? January, February, Izzo. You're gonna have to roll with Michigan State in that 9/8. St. Mary's, Grand Canyon. You kind of hit on it. I'm kind of waiting on Randy Bennett to kind of break through in March. I mean, you always kind of see St. Mary's there every once in a while. But Grand Canyon is a really damn good team. Beat San Diego State earlier in the season. But I feel like they are a different team when you get them away from their home arena. And then Alabama, Charleston, there, the other game in Spokane. There might be 200 points scored in that game. Defense is completely optional for both of those goals. I mean, last year, San Diego State almost lost to Charleston in that first round game. And we know the type of defense that San Diego State plays, and we know the type of defense Alabama does, or I should say doesn't play.
I thought San Diego State blew that team out.
It was close to start, I believe, and then I believe Charleston.
It was close to the first 2 minutes when we were down 4 points.
Well, I think when you look at this matchup between those two, Charleston could pull off an upset here just because Alabama is so inconsistent. I think they've given up 100 points 3 or 4 out of their last 6 games. and that's not where you want to be when it comes into March.
All right, Will.
All right, just focusing at the top, I believe that North Carolina is the weakest number 1 seed out of all 4. They really lucked out after Tennessee had lost in the SEC tournament. Didn't really play too well down the stretch. I mean, that's probably a chalk win easily. If who won? Was it Wagner? I think they just won like 30 minutes ago.
Wagner.
Yeah, if they upset it, that'd be crazy. I don't think it's gonna happen. Mississippi State, Michigan State. This is those kind of flip of the coin 8-9 games. It's gonna be pretty fun to watch. I think nationally everyone's gonna probably pick Izzo and Michigan State. They notoriously lost to, I think it was JMU, like in the first game of the year in East Lansing. So I'm taking Mississippi State. The SEC, even though Braden, you're out on them, I thought they were hard nosed. I thought it was a fun league to watch, to be honest. Quick note about the 5-12s. They have historically always been the sexy upset pick. Last year, they went 0-4 in the first round. That includes San Diego State kicking ass.
That means you do.
Yeah, so they are due. I like Grand Canyon. I saw them beat San Diego State. Tyon Grant Foster, he's going to play in the NBA. That kid's a stud. That kid gets buckets. I wouldn't be surprised if, similar to what Matt said, they would get to the Sweet 16. I don't have them advancing that far, but I would take them over St. Mary's, honestly. I thought the WCC was pretty down this year, and that includes Gonzaga as well. Alabama and Charleston, I'm pretty sure they're both from the state of Alabama, so this is like a state matchup. Do I trust Nate Oates? I don't know. I mean, they have a lot to be desired, and that includes San Diego State beating them last year at the Sweet 16 with Brandon Miller. I would take Alabama, though. I would have them advance.
Charleston's from South Carolina, Will.
Is it South Carolina?
Yes.
Oh, all right. Never mind.
So they're not.
That's why
you're the side note here. Little side note here. San Diego State beat Charleston by 6 last year. It wasn't an ass kicking.
They were kicking their ass the whole game, dude.
It was, that was a
6-point ball game.
Yeah, at the end of the game,
it was a 6-point ball game.
Charleston went on a run, but they were in control the entire second half.
6-point ball game.
In college basketball, that's basically an ass kicking. 10 points is an ass kicking in college basketball. San Diego State went on a run in the middle of the thing.
Solid win.
You're just a San Diego State hater, Perez.
I'm just a realist.
He's a hater.
I'm a realist.
Guy's a hater. Bottom half of the bracket: Clemson, New Mexico, Baylor, Colgate, Dayton, Nevada, Arizona, Long Beach State. I think Baylor is the favorite to win the bottom half. I think they're way better than Arizona. I think Arizona is the biggest fraud of any team that's in the NCAA tournament. I wouldn't be surprised if Long Beach State beats Arizona in the tournament. Arizona, they're so overrated, dude. I've watched enough Arizona basketball this year to know they are an overrated, fraudulent basketball team.
They're not losing to a 15 seed again. There's no way.
And they've done it twice. They've already done it twice. They lost to Steve Nash, and then they lost last year.
That's what I mean. They're not winning. They're not losing back-to-back years to a 15 seed. That's a great story. The Long Beach State's that's one of the more hilarious storylines in the tournament in recent memory. Like, what are the chances of that? Imagine just like getting fired and be like, I'm good. I'm gonna keep showing up. Yeah, try me. I'm gonna keep coming.
I haven't seen. I mean, Arizona they're way better than Long Beach State is. Long Beach State has no business being in the NCAA tournament. They got hot in the right weekend, but Arizona is very fraudulent. If they don't lose in the first round, they most likely will lose in the second round. I'd be very shocked if they made it past the Sweet 16. So I got Baylor as the favorite. My dark horse in this bracket is New Mexico. I think New Mexico is playing really good basketball right now. As much as a Winsock House is, the guy's a hell of a basketball player, and he's been carrying that New Mexico team. They were, backs against the wall for the entire Mountain West Conference tournament, and they went on a roll, and they were able to make the NCAA tournament. So they're my dark horse. In terms of upset, I like Long Beach State as an upset, if you will, out of this group. I think Colgate's a second option. I can't go with dark horse New Mexico with the 11 seed and pick them as an upset too. So I'm going to go with Long Beach State as my my upset pick. Will.
Okay, for me, I'm flipped. I'm still not sold on North Carolina. I don't have them advancing, honestly, far enough. The chalk of this region, I'm taking Arizona. I think there's going to be a response from the team. Everyone wants the whole Caleb Love UNC reunion. Yes, that would be great for TV ratings. I don't see it happening. And I think it's going to be one of those two, honestly, that could bounce, but I'm going to go with my gut. I think Arizona's chalk and it's going to go on a pretty good run here. In terms of the dark horse, I'm going to steal yours. I'm going to take New Mexico. I watched almost all of their games this year. They are outstanding against the spread. So if you want to bet and win money, take House. House is the prototypical perfect type of guard that we have seen for the last 12 to 15 years, that he's scrappy. He doesn't care. He plays hard. He plays the game, honestly, the right way. I hate to admit it. And they're the type of team that can catch fire and kind of can sock these teams in the mouth when they're not expecting it. So I have them as the dark horse. The upset, I guess, like bracket buster. I'm going to go Grand Canyon. The 12-5. I think that, again, the stat, none of them won last year. I think they can go on a run. I really like their guard. I think like Grant Foster is really good. So I would take those three.
We're talking about the bottom bracket there. Any upsets down
here?
It's kind of tough because we picked New Mexico.
Yeah, I know, because you want to go New Mexico. Oh man,
that's why I picked Long Beach State, dude.
Yeah, but you already picked. I don't know. I have no faith in that.
I have no faith in it.
Let's go Nevada. Jared Lucas, who's like 34 years old. He's been around like 10 teams. Maybe he can. I don't trust Dayton at all. No one's talking about them. Maybe they get it done.
I can see that too. Plus, Nevada got ripped off with their seeding.
Terribly.
All right.
I'm going to echo Will's statement on just everything that he just said. This is the year that Arizona is probably going to break through to the Final Four.
I've been hearing that every year since I was born.
But if you look at who they played and who they lost to, it would tell you that they show up for big time games against big time teams. It's the small schools.
Are you saying
that
Washington State's not a big time team?
Well, when they played them the first time, they weren't a big time team. I mean, Arizona
is not a big time team.
Arizona beat Michigan State this year. They beat Colgate tournament team. They beat Wisconsin. They played Purdue and they lost by 8. And then they beat Alabama. And they lost to FAU in double overtime by 1 point. I mean, this is a team that plays with high energy, high power. They love to score. They love to get you in transition and just kind of get things rolling and play a downhill basketball game. And there's nobody in this, and in this lower region that I think can hold their own against them. Dayton fell off the complete face of the earth compared to where they were 4-6 weeks ago. So either them or Nevada. I do like Nevada to win that game because Jared Lucas is 34, like what Will said. But I would lean Arizona here. Just take them the entire way. And then it is kind of chalk, but the Lobos as an 11 who won their conference tournament to beat Clemson. Battle tested. They play good teams in the Mountain West. And I don't know. Clemson just isn't a basketball school.
They're not, but they've had a pretty good year. Nobody's talking about them, and they've done pretty well in the NCAA tournament as of late. I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid as an Arizona fan that you guys are. I've seen this episode too many times where they get left at the Elite 8 level. Have yet to make the Final Four since winning the national championship in the 90s. So that is that. On to the next bracket. As we break this thing up, we're going to go to the South up in the top right-hand corner. This damn game break thing is kind of in the way, but we're going to focus on the top half of this bracket. Houston, the number 1 seed in the South region. I think they have the best. I think they're up there with UConn and being a team that can win it all. Longwood, who got hot in the Big South, they're not very good of a basketball team. They got the 16 seed. Nebraska, the 8, Texas A&M, the 9, Wisconsin, the 5, James Madison, the 12, Duke, the 4, and Vermont, the 13 is your top half of the South region. Houston's chalk to me. I think they're the number 1. I like them to take care of business on the top half. In terms of, a dark horse, I guess I would have to go with Wisconsin in that case. They were in the Big Ten championship, but that being said, Big Ten championship teams don't do very, very well in the first round of the NCAA tournament as of late for some odd reason. Dark horse team, upset team. I'm probably going to go with James Madison.
See, I think this is the chalkiest region, to be
It
honest.
is.
And every region, everyone gets so caught up in the upsets that it actually kind of does the opposite effect, that the favorites do end up taking care of business. God, if Longwood won, that would be one of the funniest things, not only because of their name and what it sounds like, but the fact that Houston would flail again. But it's just hard for me to believe that. They were a wagon the entire year. Houston's chalk. Another great 8-9 game. Nebraska and Texas A&M. What's the guard's name on Nebraska? Is it Tamanaga? That's super fun to watch. Interesting stat. They've never won an NCAA tournament. That's kind of crazy to me. And it just seems that Tamanaga, similar to House from New Mexico, March is about guard play. And if he can catch fire at the right time, I mean, we saw this with different teams throughout the years. You just got to be hot that afternoon, and no one can ever foresee it coming. Texas A&M, though, is still tough. I mean, they beat Tennessee. They beat Kentucky twice. I mean, they're a solid team.
They've won some really big games and lost some really
right? Like
right now.
Sounds almost like Arizona. It's like you're dropping games to Oregon State.
Braden's favorite team, the Arizona Wildcats. 5-12. Yeah, that's another fun fight. I want to take Wisconsin. I'm just right. AJ Storr is the size of like a wide receiver, like playing point guard, and just dominates. And then Duke, and I think Duke, that's pretty. I don't have much faith in the Catamounts. So yeah, I would say chalk Houston. I'm going to go, honestly, dark horse, maybe Texas A&M. And then an upset, I guess you got to go James Madison, right? I mean, I think they had the most wins in the tournament. It's like 33 or 34 wins.
Yeah, that was like Charleston last year.
Yeah, and hey, Matt, who did they lose to?
Okay.
By 6 points.
Okay. All right, yeah.
Houston chalk, obviously. I mean, everything that Kelvin Sampson's done down there is phenomenal. I mean, they're a fully loaded machine, fully built on kind of like their culture, kind of how they play. They're a fit in, night out, in one of the best basketball conferences in the league right now. And then I'm going to go Nebraska to get their first NCAA tournament win.
Yeah.
Nebraska ball, baby. Let's go.
Nebraska ball.
Wisconsin, James Madison. This is probably like the sexiest 5-12 just when you look at James Madison being 31-3. And you look at like what they did in football this year and kind of like where they're at in basketball. It's kind of like, oh, James Madison's almost like the darling of a lot of college sports fans.
Is that what UC San Diego is going to be?
But
in the Big West, never know.
Duke should have no problem with the Catamounts.
Love the Catamounts.
But yeah, I guess if you were to take a dark seed, it would be James Madison, just because of how well they've been playing their entire year, and you could totally see Wisconsin just faltering. Also, like what you just said with the Big Ten teams not doing great in the first opening rounds of the March Madness tournament.
Bottom half of this bracket, as we get to it here on the podcast, so kind of previewing the NCAA tournament. We'll have this all posted on social. Bottom half of the South bracket: Texas Tech 6 seed, 11 seed NC State, Kentucky the 3, Oakland the 14, Florida the 7, awaiting a play-in game, Marquette the 2, and Western Kentucky the 15. Favorite in this one, obviously, is actually not really obvious. I would say Marquette, Kentucky, and Texas Tech all have a great chance of getting through this side to get to the Elite Eight. I really like Texas Tech. I'm going to pick them as my dark horse as the 6th seed. I think Marquette's a really good basketball team too, but Kentucky's getting a lot of picks to be in the national championship game and in the Final Four. So I'm going to go with Kentucky as my favorite, my Texas Tech as the dark horse. And then in terms of an upset special, I don't really see Oakland taking care of Kentucky. NC State, they won the ACC. I think it's very hard to really count them as an upset. So, if a 15 can upset it too, West Kentucky knocking off Marquette might be pretty fun to see because they went on a run to win Conference USA and clinch a spot in the NCAA tournament. So I'll go with Kentucky, my favorite, Texas Tech, my dark horse, and Western Kentucky as my upset special. Matt.
I think Braden, Texas Tech's your second favorite school, right? You even got accepted by them and refused to go to school.
Never applied to Texas Tech, but they were my favorite. Raider Red is this is an all-time mascot region, by the way, with Raider Red and Big Red in the mascots. I mean, I don't really care about the Gator too much.
You got Ralphie in there.
Ralphie, that's right. Ralphie's playing. Who they got tomorrow?
They play Boise State.
Boise State.
Yeah, this region, although it is pretty, chalk heavy, just the scoring, honestly, when you look at almost every team, their ability to score is pretty outstanding. I don't know what I'm getting with NC State. Are they one of those teams we see every year that's an automatic qualifier that just caught fire at the right time and then they play like shit and don't do anything in the tournament? Texas Tech's in the best conference. And we've seen it all year.
5 games in 5 days after losing 4 straight to go into the ACC.
That's what I'm saying. Oh my God. Kentucky, I've kind of been high on ever since. I mean, really before the season started, and even when they got off to a pretty solid start. They had those. I think it's Dillingham and Shepard. I mean, they're NBA draft pick. Kentucky is it baffles my mind how they are not a dynasty because they routinely produce at least 3 to 4 NBA starters or roster fillers every year in the draft, and they never succeed. I think, what was it, last year or 2 years ago, whenever they lost to St. Peter's. Florida, Boise State, so with the play-in, and I think it's going to be this team, the winner of the Boise State, Colorado, we see it every year. One of the play-in teams is able to capture a win in the first weekend. And I think
a run potentially too. They've had
to go on a run
for like the Final Four. UCLA did it.
Yes, that's the best example. Boise State, as we mentioned early on, they got hosed. The fact that they fell into this kind of bracket, they kind of faltered, down the stretch of the regular season, and then with the tournament as well. And then Colorado, Matt, you watched them, a pretty extensive amount throughout the season playing, Wazoo and everyone else. God, that's a tough one because Florida lost their center. I'm pretty sure he broke his leg over the weekend. So that's a pretty big deal. And then Marquette, Western Kentucky. Is Tyler Kolek going to play? I think that's their best player for Marquette. Guys, this is probably one of the more fun regions, honestly, or this part of the bracket. Chalk, I mean, yes, you got to go. God, you got to go.
Who's your dark horse? Who's your upset? Come on, let's go. We're running out of time here.
This is so hard. That's what I'm saying. We need 4 hours. Upset. I want to go Colorado. I think Colorado takes care of business against Boise State, and then I think they could honestly beat Florida ever since they had their starting center injured. They could be and then the upset.
Just pick the upset, or is that your dark horse?
No, I'm gonna go NC State as
your upset.
DJ Burns.
Okay,
he's the size of a vending machine. He's awesome.
I'm trying to
give you 50 solid minutes, and after that, he's done. But
I'm trying to track what you said. So, what is give me your favorite, your dark horse, and your upset special?
So the favorite is Kentucky.
Okay.
The dark horse is Colorado, and the upset special is NC State.
All right, perfect.
Well, good takes. I'm gonna follow you on the. I'm going to follow you on the Kentucky Wildcat train. I mean, what's also interesting too when you're looking at this, and I think it's this matchup with Oakland, and this is something that just kind of caught my eye when I was looking at it. Oakland's coach has been there for 40 years, and he finally got him to the tournament, which is a great story. It's one of the many great stories that are on this bracket. But their road's going to come to an end against a loaded Wildcat team. That's kind of due for a deep run, and this side of the region here is kind of leaning towards their side to where they should be the favorite here. My dark horse is going to be the Colorado Buffaloes. Watch them play against Washington State last Friday. They're a very talented team. They got some size that can give some teams some problem. Eddie Lampkin, who Braden knows very well, the TCU transfer. if the guy you just said, Will, is a vending machine, Eddie Lampkin is like a industrial grade freezer. I mean, that guy will knock you over, take up space, get you, to kind of like he will get under your skin, and be kind of annoying to play against. Boise State's never won a NCAA tournament game, and that's not going to change. And then upset special, give me the Tops over Marquette.
Ooh.
Western Kentucky back in the tournament for the first time in a little while. Their new head coach, Steve Lutz, he took Texas A&M Corpus Christi there. Not an easy place to win. Goes to Western Kentucky. And the thing about Western Kentucky, too, is like they get some guys that are, D1 bounce backs or really good guys just because of the state that they're in and how they recruit. Like that's a very good region of the country for hoops. And they have some pretty good players that can definitely shock some people out there.
Let's get to the East here, or sorry, the South again, and pick our Sweet 16 and Elite 8. In terms of the Sweet 16, for myself, as I try to direct and produce and talk at the same time. Sweet 16 for me with this group, I got Houston for sure. I'm gonna go Wisconsin over Duke. I think it's gonna be Houston, Wisconsin in the Sweet 16. Give me, oh man, it's gonna be tough with Texas Tech and Kentucky. I'm gonna go with Texas Tech upsetting Kentucky, and then I'm gonna go with Marquette. So I'm gonna go Texas Tech, Marquette, Houston, and Wisconsin. I'll take Houston and Marquette in the Elite 8, and I got Houston going to the Final Four.
This is so hard. I'm taking Texas Tech to win over NC State, and then eventually losing to Kentucky to get to the Sweet 16. I had the Gators over Marquette. We basically have an SEC rematch. They were both fun as hell games during the regular season. They both traded wins in each other's arenas. I'm taking Reed Sheppard and Rob Dillingham and Coach Cal. He's not on the hot seat, but man, he has something to prove. I have them get into the Elite 8. God, I need more time. I need so much more time.
I'm gonna work from the bottom up. Western Kentucky and Colorado. I'll take Colorado in that one. Texas Tech and Kentucky. Give me Kentucky, and then Kentucky will beat Colorado, get onto the Elite 8. And then on the top half here, Duke and Wisconsin. Give me Duke, and then Houston and Nebraska ball. Houston will defeat Coach Cal and move on to the Final Four because they are a wagon.
And that's a look at the South bracket. Did we give the Sweet 16 and Final Four picks for the West?
Not officially, but I think we all agree Arizona's going to get there, right?
Not as an Arizona fan. So just to recap real quick on the West region, I got North Carolina going to the Sweet 16. I'm gonna go with St. Mary's going to the Sweet 16. Bottom half, give me Baylor, give me Arizona. I'll take Baylor in the Elite 8 going against North Carolina, and I'll take Baylor in the Final Four.
Here, go, Matt. I'm not ready.
Arizona, Nevada, Arizona is going to move on to the Sweet 16. So Arizona Sweet 16, and then New Mexico, Baylor. Give me Baylor. So we got Arizona, Baylor, Sweet 16, Alabama, and then St. Mary's. I'll go St. Mary's. Alabama's got too many question marks right now for me. And then North Carolina will obviously be in the Sweet 16. So Sweet 16 consists of North Carolina, St. Mary's, Baylor, and Arizona. And then we'll have a UNC and Arizona Elite 8 with Arizona winning and moving on to their first Final Four in how many years, Braden?
It's been a long time. I think they haven't been since 98, I think, or 97 when they won the. Actually, I think that was 96. It's 96, 97 when they won when they won with Mike Bibby in the national championship. That, by the way, is the last time a team west of Houston or west of Waco won a national championship in basketball. It's been a long time, and the fact that the best chance for that streak to break is Arizona is everything you need to know about what the state of West Coast basketball right now.
Okay, so we're just restarting just really fast from
Give me your
the
Sweet
east, the west, the
16,
south.
your Sweet 16 and Elite 8 for the West region.
I have a rematch of the national championship game in the Sweet 16 with UConn and my Aztecs, and in just
in the West.
You said it started from the east,
West,
in the
sorry,
west. Okay, all right, in the west. In the Sweet 16, I have Mississippi State and Bama. God, I have way too much SEC in this. This is gross.
Just means more.
They kicked the shit out of Tennessee. I mean, that really kind of screwed up. Other than the AQs that won outright,
I think it's a
Tennessee
Riley
was
Green
supposed to be a 1 seed. I'm going to take Mississippi State. I had New Mexico in the Sweet 16. I think they're going to represent the Mountain West extremely well, but eventually lose to the University of Arizona. Bear down in the Elite 8, and I have them beating Mississippi State to get to the Final Four. All right, now we're doing the South.
No, we're good. We did the South already.
Oh, okay.
We could tell what leagues Will watched during the regular season.
It wasn't even
12.
okay. It's not
the
even that.
SEC in the Mountain West, and this guy watched the
Pac-12
Pac-12
and the Big East.
Big East. Yeah,
It's just like the committee, the way they had all these matchups. Like I just, I'm gonna kick myself too over this.
Yes, you are. You're gonna redo your bracket like 15 times. Let's move on to
100%. I've already done it 15 times.
West,
I'm gonna do it 15 more times.
We'll do our Final Four and national championship prediction. We'll get into Padres baseball to finish up the show after a fun little game that Perez put together. In the Midwest region, it's the last one we're going to talk about. Purdue with the number 1 seed. They will play the winner of Grambling State and Montana State. Utah State gets the 8 seed, winning the Mountain West Conference and being an 8 seed, which is kind of ridiculous. TCU the 9, Gonzaga the 5, McNeese State, who everybody's picking as the number 12. They played a 1920s football schedule with their non-conference schedule. Kansas and Samford, the top half of the Midwest region. I think Purdue is kind of overrated, but at this point in time, they are the favorite on the top half just because the way that fouls are called in the NCAA tournament, Zach Edey could have a great day every single day in the NCAA tournament, but they have been upset before. But as of right now, I think they are the favorite. Kansas will be without one of their star players. That was announced today. They're already limping into this tournament. I mean, they got run out of the building by Cincinnati in the Big 12 championships, where they are basically the home team for all those games. So I don't really like Kansas. I don't like Gonzaga too much either, just because they're good, but they're not Gonzaga good, if you know what I mean. But if I had to pick, Purdue's my favorite. TCU's my dark horse, just because you don't know what type of TCU team you're going to is going to show up, and their speed could be very deadly against the Purdue basketball team. My upset special seems to be a lot of teams talking about McNeese State. I'm going to go with Samford as my upset special pick here in the Midwest region. Did I take your pick there, Will?
You took literally everything I was just about to say. I mean, it was great. Yeah, I mean, other than just kind of echoing everything you just said, I don't think there's no way they lose again. I refuse. I'm gonna lay whatever points they have against whoever, Montana State or Grambling. Zach Edey, the media needs to see him advance. There's no way they're losing. TCU, I hope you guys throttle the shit out of Utah State for getting that ranking. And honestly, even though your record doesn't reflect it, if you watched a good amount of Big 12 basketball, I mean, you guys get hosed on a lot of calls. This is the type of team that no one's talking about. Is it Jamie Dixon? Yes. He has the recipe and history of going on a run. That's a solid one. Here's the thing with Gonzaga and McNeese, just quick. I think, Matt, you would get a kick out of this. I looked at McNeese's schedule.
Yeah, I just said this. It's like a 1920s football schedule.
Okay, but have you ever heard of the College of Biblical Studies?
I can't say I have.
They played.
What about the University of Mississippi for Women or something like that? Was one of the teams
they played. This is the most vulnerable Gonzaga team, I think, in maybe 20 years, but they're always in the Sweet 16. I think Gonzaga is that one team this year that actually might just go on a run, and you're like, wait, where were they the entire year? The WCC, as we mentioned, was already down. They're going to handle McNeese State. I don't like that upset. Samford, you stole it. I think after McCullough went down, Kansas has been reeling for like 3 weeks. The last good game I saw them play was actually in person against Texas at Allen Fieldhouse, which was absolutely amazing and an experience of a lifetime. But you have Samford, who the only better 3-point shooting percentage than them is the University of Kentucky. I mean, this could be like a high scoring game. They're my upset. Chalk has to be Purdue. I'm going to go dark horse Gonzaga.
I think that's fair. I think you could do that.
I'm going to roll with Purdue over Montana State or Grambling, either or. It doesn't matter. I mean, this has to be the year for the Boilermakers, right? Just the last 3 NCAA tournaments, they've come crashing down in embarrassing ways. Zach Edey needs it. Matt Painter needs it. Purdue needs it. Utah State, TCU. Give me TCU over Utah State. You're welcome, Will. I could see TCU beating Purdue in the round of 32.
I could too. Honestly, I could see that.
If Purdue starts getting nightmares of the last couple seasons back in their head, and TCU is a team that can do that. I mean, they play fast, they play quick.
I have thoughts on that in a second. Go ahead.
Gonzaga, McNeese. Well, how many times have you read or heard this week people saying that they're going to take McNeese over Gonzaga? I feel like it's the most popular.
I think I would say, other than Wisco and James Madison, that the Gonzaga McNeese, I think Gonzaga might roll them, and which is going to be great for gambling because the spread's going to change significantly. I just, who's McNeese played? Like, I don't.
Biblical studies.
That's right.
Yeah, college of biblical studies. That sounds like a course that you have to take like your second year of school. Like, oh man.
But yes, I am with you. Give me the Zags over McNeese, and I think McNeese's style, they kind of capitalize on turnovers. Gonzaga is one of the best teams in the country when it comes to protecting the ball. So give me Mark Few in that one. Kansas and Samford. Samford could be the upset special here. Kansas isn't very deep as is, and then with this injury, that does not help their cause. Regardless there, I would see Gonzaga moving on to the Sweet 16. This has, as bad of a year, quote unquote bad it's been Zag wise. This is a very easy bracket. I wouldn't say easy, but there's definitely a path for them to get to where they want to go, and it's because of this region compared to most other ones.
Real quick, just recap your favorite, your dark horse, and your upset special.
I'm going to take my dark horse as TCU. My favorite as a 5, Gonzaga. It doesn't even make sense when you say it like that. And then upset special, Samford over Kansas.
Let's talk about that real quick. I agree with you on I have to record it like that for social media purposes that I have to try to crank out tonight and try to get that all in before we start bracket play on Thursday. But I agree with you on as a TCU fan, I am more concerned about Utah State than I am Purdue. And because I swear, but like with Purdue,
it's so true though.
Zach Edey's like he's a monster in the middle, right? We have 2 very athletic big men in the middle, but also we're statistically the fastest team in the country. And the teams that handle Purdue are the teams that are fast as shit moving up and down, where Zach Edey can't even like move courts. Like he can't run suicides up and down the court, and TCU will run them to death. So if TCU could make it through a Utah State, I think they're in the Sweet 16. And then at that point, who knows what they could go on. But the problem with TCU is they've had games where they beat Houston and everything looks great. And they have games where they shoot 18% from the field and they get run out of the building. So those are 2 drastically different TCU teams that you're about to see in the tournament. I have the ability to do this. Take a look at the schedule of McNeese State, as Will put up. They started the season at VCU. Oh, it's not too bad. It's a pretty good win. And then they played College of Biblical Studies, where they hammered them. They played Champion Christian. I don't even know how to pronounce that. Letorno?
Are they French?
Letorno? They must be in Louisiana or something like that. Western Carolina. Okay, I've heard of them. Texas State, Louisiana Tech. They lost to Western Carolina, and they lost to Louisiana Tech. They get into, some team that beat UAB. UAB is a tournament team. And then they play Mississippi University for women. They beat them 92-23. Toys for Tots game. for them. I mean, what? I mean, they beat Michigan. Michigan got their Juwan Howard got fired, so it's not even that big of a deal. But look at their schedule. They're everybody's upset special.
I know.
And yet they played Mississippi University for women. I don't even know how that makes sense anymore in this day.
Vegas is salivating because everyone wants to pick. Dude, Mark Few. What is the spread on that game? I would, man. That schedule is insane.
While you're looking that up, I'm going to break down the bottom half, the final bracket that we're going to get to today. The bottom half of the Midwest region. 6 seed South Carolina, 11 seed Oregon, Creighton's the 3, Akron's the 14, Texas is the 7. They'll be awaiting the winner of Virginia and Colorado State, who Colorado State, I'm pretty sure, was kicking Virginia's butt. But I think they were up 10 at some point. I don't know what the score
25
is.
25-14.
Yeah, they're kicking their ass. Virginia didn't belong in this tournament anyway, but you never know. They might come back and win in the second half. Tennessee, the 2, St. Peter's, the 15. Very interesting bracket. I do think there's a couple of teams that can go on and win this thing. I think it's Tennessee and Creighton at this point. I've seen too many Texas choke jobs this season, to really put a lot of faith in them. I do think Colorado State could probably beat Texas if they beat Virginia here. I like Tennessee, but I don't like Rick Barnes does not do well in the NCAA tournament. I mean, he is cursed, and he doesn't cover the spread.
He's like 3-15 all
so
time.
Bad. He's so bad.
Unreal.
He's 3-15 against the spread in NCAA tournament games, and they're a 22.5-point favorite against St. Peter's, who has already been the team that has been the upset king for a long period of time. So I like Tennessee, and I like Creighton. I think if I had to pick a team to emerge to Elite 8 out of this group, it'd probably be Creighton, so they're my favorite. My dark horse, I think this is kind of tough for a dark horse. I'm going to go with Colorado State as the dark horse if they win tonight. If they don't win, I'm going to go with South Carolina. South Carolina's had a pretty sneaky year, too. They were at the top of the SEC for the majority of SEC play, and they've been ranked for the majority of the season as well. It's just kind of a tough ending to their season near the end of the season. So my favorite is Creighton. My dark horse will be Colorado State, which I'm sure I'll curse them and they'll blow it in the second half to Virginia. And then my upset will be Oregon as an 11 seed. I think Oregon, I mean, they won the Pac-12 conference tournament. They've been hot as of late. They could upset South Carolina and they're playing house money right now. So those are my picks. Creighton is the favorite. Colorado State is my dark horse, and Oregon is the upset special.
Oh man. Okay.
Every time you got to pick.
Huh?
You're just heavy sigh.
I am. There's just too much. It's because I like certain ones and I don't, and I flip, and then it's very indecisive. Okay. I mean, favorite in this. Yeah. I don't want to say Tennessee. I don't like the Rick Barnes effect. I really don't. And we already talked about the play-in winner can go onto a run, and I already chose Colorado, Boulder. So it's like even if Colorado State takes care of business, I still think Texas beats them. Isaiah Stevens is really good. Okay, you know what? My dark horse is Oregon. I think they're going to beat South Carolina. Dana Altman's money in round 1. He's never lost. And in the last year of the Pac-12, I think this is the best way to do it. They won. They were an automatic qualifier, but winning the Pac-12 tournament, I think they get to the Sweet 16. They're my dark horse. The upset special. I guess you got to go Colorado State as well. I think they beat Texas in that first game. But I wouldn't be surprised if St. Peter's beats Tennessee. I want to go Colorado State, and I guess the favorite, I got to go Tennessee. Maybe this is where Rick Barnes gets over the hump. Dalton Knecht is probably going to be the highest drafted collegiate player. I don't like that one. I don't like that at all. I really don't. I don't like this. I need like 2 more hours. I don't like this at all. This one, because the most confident I feel about out of this part of the region is Oregon. Like I'm very, very high on them. I know Matt probably isn't because he saw them more than I did, but I feel like did Creighton overachieve or did they get just enough last year when San Diego State beat them to get to the Final Four? Like, I don't know. The Big East, it was kind of sus. It wasn't, I don't know. I'm just rambling now. I need more time. I don't like this, but I love this too.
Are you finished?
No, I'm not.
He needs nitroglycerin pills.
Guy turned into a schizophrenic.
I did because, and you know what's so
Himself.
annoying is that this will get clipped, and I'm going to completely
Personalities.
flip all of my opinions on this after.
It's
So
gonna be posted
this is
on
why
TikTok
this is the
tonight.
best. This is the best. The brackets are amazing.
Good. You can help me post these TikToks while you stay up late to watch the Padres tonight at 3 a.m.
Oh, it's tonight. Wow, I already forgot about that.
We'll get that in just a second. Perez, so with a lot more thoughts.
I'm gonna roll with the Ducks. I know Will did not think I would go with the Ducks, but Dana Altman, he lines Rubik's cubes. He's an animal.
He's the money.
In round 1 and in round 2. I mean, I feel like when Dana gets into March, you can almost Sharpie him into the Sweet 16. So give me Oregon. And then Creighton over Akron. Obviously, that Creighton-Oregon matchup might be one of the juicier ones in that second round matchup. Creighton's, I mean, that's a team that broke Villanova's heart 2 weeks ago, essentially kicked them out of the conversation. This is the same group that kind of went to the Elite Eight last year. It's like their last go around with their guys. And then I'll take Texas over Colorado State or Virginia. The Colorado State-Virginia matchup's hilarious because it's either, I mean, based on how the game ends up, it's going to be people hating on Virginia saying they shouldn't have been there, or people hating on Colorado State saying that the Mountain West got too many bids. So I think that's a hilarious first 4 game. Tennessee and St. Peter's. This would be the quintessential Rick Barnes moment here. If he lost to St. Peter's after losing in the first round of the SEC tournament. But I'm going to go. I mean, I don't even know if there's, a favorite when you're looking at this. I would take Oregon.
So I pick Creighton. You're going to pick an 11 seed as the favorite.
Yeah. I mean, Oregon,
you have to pick
Oregon,
one
who
team.
got in because they had an automatic qualifier, but they were hurt for majority of the year. I don't think they've had so many missed games from players that they expected big minutes from this year. And that's why they weren't, the Oregon that you would expect and be ranked and have an at-large bid. But those guys are now healthy. And I mean, you saw how they played. They beat Arizona tournament, then they beat Colorado, and they probably would have beat Washington State if they played them again.
But it's one of those like they're playing for their lives, and the other schools are like, well, we're already in.
No, but
some
the
of
Buffs
that
weren't
in
automatically
play.
in.
There's some
the Buffs weren't automatically in.
There's some of that. I think there's some of that in there, but you're picking them 11 seed to be the favorite. So like out of all those teams, like you have to bet your entire livelihood on one of those teams to make it through that 8-team bracket. Who you putting your entire life on?
Oregon.
Really?
I don't trust Rick Barnes. I don't know how you could.
Creighton, dude. Creighton's got all the measurables.
But
they got all the national championship
Creighton
measurables.
Is slightly fraudulent.
You're being biased because you're a Big East guy.
They would concern me against Oregon in that second round.
All right, so Oregon's your favorite. Continue.
Oregon would be my favorite. My upset special, I guess, would be St. Peter's because Rick Barnes. And then dark horse, Colorado State over Texas. I don't see Akron beating Creighton at all in any way.
All right, so we wrapped up the Midwest of the bottom half. Let's get to our final Sweet 16 Elite 8 picks for this region. My Sweet 16 picks. I'm going to be biased. I'm going to take TCU over Purdue to make the Sweet 16. I'm going to take Gonzaga to make it through that group of 4 down there. So TCU Gonzaga rematch of the second round last year in the Sweet 16 with a chance to go to the Elite 8. On the bottom half, I'm going to go with Creighton to win that set to go to the Sweet 16. I'm going to go with Tennessee. I think they get the job done. I think Rick Barnes kicks the Rick Barnes effect. So I'm going to go Creighton and Tennessee. I got Tennessee going to the Elite 8, and I think they take on Gonzaga. And no, I don't. I think Creighton beats them. I think Creighton will take on Gonzaga, and I got Creighton in the Final Four because of the national championship measurables that happen all the time. Go ahead, Will.
Okay. Sweet 16. I want to pick you guys so bad, and I think you honestly could be Purdue, and I could just.
I haven't
play
been
that
in the Sweet 16 in almost forever.
I know. I feel like Purdue has the Virginia effect, 2019 version after they had lost to UMBC. I think they get it done. So I had them beating you guys in the Sweet 16. And I have Gonzaga with Mark Few. Again, one of the more vulnerable, Gonzaga teams that we've seen in quite some time, but this is going to pain me. I'm going to pick Purdue. I'm going to go chalk here and get them to the Elite Eight. On the bottom half, I have Oregon over Creighton. They're my dark horse team. I had them getting to the Sweet 16. I completely flipped. I have Colorado State beating Virginia. I think Texas and Shaka Smart. I think they're going to, or not Shaka Smart. His name's escaping me. I think Texas wins, and I think they're going to play Tennessee, and the Rick Barnes effect is going to kick right back in, and Texas is going to get to the Sweet 16 with the Oregon Ducks getting to the Elite Eight to play Purdue.
You guys all this faith in the Oregon Ducks, huh? The 11?
Yeah, I do. I am. I'm going with my gut. I don't. This is one I'm sticking with. I'm not going to switch. It's the teams below them. I can't get a grip on. I really can't. And that's the Oregon Creighton game is going to be awesome. I think it's going to be a really, really fun game. It's going to be high scoring, and I'm not. No, you're not swaying me. No, I'm not listening to you. I'm keeping them.
You sure about that?
Yeah.
Are you sure about that? Sure about that?
Yeah.
Are you sure about that?
I would love for St. Peter's to win. That would be. We've seen it now the last couple of years. A 2 or a 16, a 15 or a 16 seed winning straight up.
All right.
Who's doing it this year?
Just to make it easier on everything, I'm going to do this, and we might have to adjust it in between, but we're going to go with this to show off the Elite Eight and Final Four. I'm pretty sure this Elite Eight was exactly what I said. It's probably close to it. But for me, to talk about the Final Four real quick, I got UConn winning the East. I got Baylor winning the West. I got Houston winning the South, and I got Creighton winning the Midwest. This is what I picked last night. This is as of right now. I'm sure I'll change this 1,500 times. In the Final Four, I think UConn gets Baylor to run out of gas. I think UConn's going to go back to the national championship game in Glendale, Arizona. I think Houston. I think they're on a warpath to win a national championship this year. I think they get the better of Creighton. And then I got Houston over UConn. I think Houston is if Houston plays UConn at a neutral site in Arizona, give me Houston as a 2.5-point favorite over UConn. I think they're going to go through a roll. So I got Houston winning the national championship. Those are my Final Four picks for that.
All right, well, don't worry.
Yeah, go, Matt. Go.
I got UConn making the Final Four out of the East. I got the Arizona Wildcats representing the Pac-12 in their final go-around out of the West.
I got to make your bracket real quick. Keep talking.
UConn in the East, Arizona in the West. And then in the South region, Kelvin Sampson, Houston Redemption, making it to the Final Four. And then in the Midwest, I'm going to go with the Zags, just somehow finding their way into the Final Four in this down year by their standards. And I think they'll get some breaks that go their way, whether it be from Samford early on or Purdue faltering or Rick Barnes effect. On the other side over there, I think Gonzaga will make it. So then the Final Four, UConn, Arizona. Give me UConn booking their ticket back to the national championship. And then I got them playing Houston. Very chalky right here, a 1 and a 1 seed. And UConn will put on for the Big East and all their pissed off fans up there for not having enough teams in the tournament. And they're going to take home their second consecutive NCAA championship.
So you got Houston and UConn, and then you go to UConn here. Let me hold on a second. I was trying to recreate it for you at the same time. And bang. Wait. Bang.
There you go. You got it.
All right, go ahead and say it again.
UConn is going to come out of the East, and they will face Arizona out of the West in the Final Four, and they will book their ticket back to the NCAA final for the second consecutive year. And then Kelvin Sampson and the Houston Cougars will take the South, and they will go up against Mark Few and the Gonzaga Bulldogs out of the Midwest. And then Houston will win that one. We'll get a 1 seed UConn and a 1 seed Houston in the championship game, and UConn will go back to back and take home their second consecutive championship trophy.
All right, Will.
I absolutely hate this, and I'm gonna for sure redo this.
Give me your Elite Eight real quick.
I have San Diego State upsetting UConn in the Elite Eight, only to lose to Illinois, who will outlast Drake. So SDSU and Illinois in the Elite Eight in the East region. For Illinois,
Give me a second.
they have 3 NBA guys. They're going to advance to the Final Four. In the West, I have Mississippi State versus Braden, your beloved University of Arizona Wildcats. I have Tommy Lloyd getting it done, and Caleb Love and the squad getting to the Final Four. They will be representing the state there and playing Illinois, only for them to be upset. I hate no, rewind that. No. So I'll come back to that really fast. To the South, I have in the Sweet 16, Houston beating Wisconsin and Kentucky beating Florida. And in a crazy high scoring, just game of the century, Calipari and his young team find a way to outlast Houston. Kentucky gets to the Final Four, where they will face from the Midwest after Purdue exercises their demons from losing to Fairleigh Dickinson last year. They will upset the Zags to get to the Elite Eight.
How does a 1 seed upset a 5 seed?
Because I feel like at that point, I don't know. I feel like it's not an upset. Sorry, my brain's just scrambled right now. And they're going to take care of business against Gonzaga. And then they will face the winner of, after the Rick Barnes effects have already kicked in.
You picked Oregon, didn't you?
Yeah, the Ducks will beat Texas to get to the Elite Eight, but eventually run out of steam and lose to Purdue to advance to the Final Four. I have Kentucky in the national championship, where they will play the winner of the Arizona-Illinois game, and Illinois wins with UK as the champion. Big Blue Nation.
All right.
I hate that. I just hate it. I don't like that at all.
All right, we get to do it again. So,
man, this is.
There you go. There's your Final Four. Will, go ahead and walk us through it.
Okay. Out of the East, Illinois to beat Arizona in the Final Four to get to the title game, and then Kentucky outlasting Houston and Purdue beating Oregon, and then Kentucky beating Purdue to get to the national title game to play Illinois. And Rob Dillingham and Reed Shepherd and John Calipari will hoist the national championship trophy.
And that's it for that. Well done. Well done, Salty Crew.
Thanks. Man, I don't like this. I really don't.
You can redo your picks multiple times. I mean, it's not going to be that big of a deal. I'm not sold on my picks yet either.
I'm not. Is anyone ever, though? Is anyone ever? Matt, how do you feel about your picks?
Not great, but we'll take a look at it tomorrow and
right.
Go from there.
I haven't even done any real research yet on this. This is kind of like I made my gut picks last night, and then it's, kind of where I've been at. Oh, hopefully that didn't change. Okay, good. It didn't change to all your stuff, but I like some Big 12 schools. Obviously, watching the Big 12 a lot this year, and there's some schools I think are a little overrated, but you just never know. That's what makes this thing super fun. It is trivia time. Matt Perez put together a nice little trivia thing, as we have basically a 2-hour podcast today. A lot to get into after missing last week. So you can basically say, our podcast for last week and our podcast for this week just merged together since we all have time. What is our trivia for the day, Mr. Perez.
We're gonna learn a little bit about some of these universities that are playing in the big dance. I'm gonna name you 3 to 5 alumni from a school, and you tell me what school you think it is. Sound pretty simple?
Okay, can you replace that?
I'm gonna name 3 to 5 people that graduated, earned their degrees from one of the universities that are participating in March Madness.
Okay.
And you're going to do your best to tell me what school.
Which school that is.
Yep.
All right. How many schools do we have on this
We
list?
have 11, I believe.
All right. And these are just famous people that are alum that are not athletes,
We have
or
12.
both?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
Some of them are more athlete focused than others. But that should probably give you a hint of what type of school it is, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Makes sense.
All right.
All
Well,
right.
you paying attention, or are you locked into the Colorado State Virginia game?
No, I'm definitely listening. I think this is one of Matt's definitely better segments for sure that I'm super excited to get in on.
Guy hates every one of Matt's segments. I love them. I think they're great.
No,
All
no, Matt, I do. You always have good
Score the
segments.
Colorado State Virginia games as you're watching it.
I'm actually not. I was looking at spreads. By the way, from earlier, Gonzaga's only, dude, they're getting 5.5. I would hammer the shit out of that. I think they're going to win by 12. I
lock of the week.
maybe 27-14 halftime, Colorado State.
I got the Padres 26-man roster. When we're done with this, we can
All
break down the Padres as
We're
well.
gonna,
All right, let's go to the games here.
We're going to roll through this quickly here. All right. First school, 3 alumni here. R.A. Dickey, Woody Page from Around the Horn, and Paul Feinbaum.
Oh, Paul Fein went to Tennessee.
That's correct.
Bang.
We should have let Will guess, but
I'm up 1-0. Here we go. It's like Jeopardy.
yeah, you're
What
right.
is
Okay, so
Tennessee?
we have to both yell out at the same time. Okay.
Yes. First one.
Okay.
All right. Second one. Robert Horry, Big Shot Bob.
Worry.
Yep. Justin Thomas,
Alabama.
Sean Alexander. Will.
Sean Alexander did go to
Good
Alabama.
work.
All right, tied at 1.
All right.
The freaking golfer got me.
We are going to go Billy Epler,
Oh,
New York Mets.
he's a
front
Don.
office.
He's a Cathedral Don.
Yep. We're going to go Rajah Davis and Byron Jones, former
Connecticut.
Dallas Cowboy player. UConn.
Went
That's
to
right,
UConn.
Will.
Wow.
He had like a 13-foot broad jump
Yeah.
in the combine.
I didn't
Nice.
realize Billy Upper went to UConn.
We got Will 2, Braden 1.
Yeah, what the hell?
All right. Next one here. Darren Ruff, Bob Gibson, Cardinals pitcher, and Kyle Korver.
Oh man, where did he go?
Bob Gibson. What was the first one?
Darren Ruff.
Darren Ruff. The Giants player?
Yep.
Where did Kyle Korver play? God, this is gonna. I'm really mad. I don't know this.
Give me a conference hint.
Yeah, do we get hints or no?
Yeah, I can give you a hint here. Do you want to know what part of
Power 5, Group of 5.
they are a Power 5 basketball school.
Basketball school?
So Power 6.
Oh, so they're Big East school.
Yes, they're a
What
Big
are the
East school.
3 Big East schools that are in there? I'm blanking on which Big East school made the damn tournament.
They're in the tournament, you said?
Yep.
Yeah, that's the name
Name
of the game here. Big East. Creighton.
Creighton. That's correct.
Bang.
I mean, you
Creighton.
think Kyle Korver, he sounds like a Creighton guy.
Darren
right?
Ruff sounds like a middle of America guy to me.
All right, we're all tied up here. We're gonna go Kenny Rogers.
Like the singer?
Mm-hmm. The singer. Tom Landry, Dallas Cowboys head coach, and Jim Nance.
Oh,
Houston.
where did Jim go to school?
Houston,
He
that's
did
right.
Go to Houston.
And Braden, if you didn't get that one, I had Kendall Briles written down on
Oh,
here too
yeah.
for you.
Kendall.
All right, Will was up 3-2. All right, next one. Dwayne Kuiper, former Major League Baseball player and Giants radio guy or TV.
Yeah.
Tyler Childers, country music artist, and Forrest Lamp.
Oh, Western Kentucky.
That's right, the Hilltoppers.
They're all
Yeah,
Hilltoppers.
he got drafted by the Chargers. Yeah.
Yes. Good job, Will. Will's up 4-2, I believe.
Dude,
All right.
half the names
He
you
should have
said
been so
there.
good. He had too many injuries. He was solid.
All right. We're going to go Steven Spielberg,
USC. No, he's there not.
Jerry Tarkanian, Misty May Trainer.
Oh, Jerry Tarkanian.
Who was the last one?
Oh,
Misty May
is that
Trainer.
Long Beach State?
That's Long Beach State University.
I was like, there's.
Wow.
I was
The
going to say like
Dirtbags, the 49ers, or the
Spielberg
LBs.
went to. I thought he went to SC.
No, Long Beach State.
Really?
Yeah, I think he got 2 degrees there.
He
actually.
must have got his filmmaking.
Wow.
degree.
All right.
'Cause
I did
that's
not
so-
know that. That's interesting.
4-3, William. Okay. Kostas Antetokounmpo onto Giannis's brother.
Oh, Giannis's brother went to college in the United States.
Craig Stammen
Oh, Dayton.
and John Gruden. There you go.
Dayton Flyers.
Tied up at 4.
Damn.
All right. Buck Showalter, Will Clark, Fletcher Cox.
Temple?
Mm,
No.
Temple's not in the tournament.
Oh yeah, fuck.
Fletcher Cox go to school. Did he go to Power 5 school?
Yeah.
Doesn't really know.
Virginia.
Nope.
Fletcher Cox.
God damn.
Is he go to SCC school?
He did.
South Carolina?
Nope.
Florida.
Nope. About to call this
Tennessee?
block right here. We're just shouting
Mississippi
out
State.
Mississippi State.
Bang.
That's correct.
Wow. By the process of elimination.
Yeah, well, the guy could have said Dak Prescott, but he
Yeah,
didn't give it away.
Dak would have been an easy giveaway.
Yeah,
All
I
right, so-
know. Fletcher Cox, all guys.
No, I thought we're tied at 4 now. Is that
All
8
right.
of them?
Yes, because we got 3
Yeah,
more.
we're tied at 4.
All right. George Bush, Meryl Streep, Theo Epstein.
I thought George Bush went to the. Did he go to Texas?
Nope.
I thought he went
That's
to.
exactly what I was thinking.
Well, then I was thinking,
Um,
Houston, but it's not.
Texas
Houston.
A&M.
Nope.
Texas Tech,
Nope.
Baylor. Well, Bush didn't go to Baylor. I'd know if he went to Baylor or not. It's probably not a Texas school.
It's not a Texas school, huh?
He didn't say no to that.
Um,
Bush had to have gone to a Texas. McNeese State.
No.
They're in Louisiana.
it's definitely not TCU.
A&M?
I already said A&M.
I know if it was TCU.
You already used Houston.
Are they Jayhawks?
Nope. Braden, you're up 5-4, by the way.
I am?
Yep.
We're not tied?
I thought we were tied.
No.
What?
This is a Power 5 school?
No.
No. Is it like Colgate or something?
Nope.
So it's not a Power 5 school?
No, which means it's probably one of these that like just snuck into the tournament. They're
We're
not,
about to.
they're not Stetson Hatter. James Madison.
Nope.
Oh,
I'll give you one more guess each.
that might be like too prestigious for George Bush anyway. Give me a second. I got one more guess here. Give me a second.
One more guess each.
Man. Well, okay, George Bush. Who were the other two?
Meryl Streep, Theo Epstein.
Yale.
Yale, Bulldogs.
Why didn't Theo Epstein? Yale.
Theo Epstein should have given it away.
God damn.
How did George Bush get out of Yale? That's a joke. I was
He's the son
so
of a president.
infatuated with George Bush, like Texas,
That's what I thought. I thought
All right.
Texas A&M.
We got 2 more here.
and I'm up 6-4.
How's it 6-4? I thought it was tied.
I
Or
thought
now
it
it's
was 2, but apparently I
No,
have
because
a
we've
lead.
gone through 10 of them.
We've gone through 10.
All right. We got Russell Stover. It's the Russell Stover you're thinking about.
Like
For
the
chocolate?
microwavable
Yes.
food.
Yep. Russell Stover, Tyrese Halliburton, and
Oh, Iowa State.
Allen Lazard. Oh, Iowa State.
Wow.
There we go. All right. It's going to come down to this one.
6-5. So
6-5.
I either
This
win.
one's worth 2 points.
I either win or you
6-5.
tie.
What? I thought it was 5-5.
No, because we've
We've
done
done
11. This
11.
is 12.
I don't know.
Paul Allen, Steve Gleason, Scott Hatterberg.
Oh, Scott, Washington State.
That's right.
I knew the Coug Heidelberg. I'm like, where have I heard that
Washington
before? The Cougs. That's a dub.
God.
It's so bad that Will's internet just went out. Let's go. You don't want to say Ryan Leaf?
No. We're disputing this.
Well, I definitely won now. even
Braden
if we were
got-
tied in the last one.
Braden got the Tennessee Volunteers, the Washington State Cougars, Creighton Blue Jays, Houston Cougars,
No, I did. I got Houston.
I didn't get Houston.
Jim
You got
Nance.
Houston.
Oh, okay.
So then we did.
I knew it. So we did. So I knew.
So you did tie.
We did tie. I was gonna say. I was like, "There's no way."
Yeah, there's no way he got one on me.
I thought that was Braden that
Well, we tied then. So
grabbed that one.
That was fun.
No, I like that. That was good stuff.
So wait, we're tied then, right?
Yeah, 6-6. You want to do a tiebreaker?
Yeah.
Or you gonna go find some other
Yeah,
school?
yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
you're gonna find.
I'll find one. It's a little bit easier than you think. Although, like, all these smaller mid majors, there's no alumni for like McNeese State.
Trivia is so underrated. It's like, you guys ever go to bars and do it?
Oh, it's a blast.
Oh my goodness, it's
Useless
so much
knowledge.
fun.
No, it's pretty good. I wish they had 3 for this one. I got one. Oh, it was pretty good.
I can't believe George Bush went to Yale. How did he get in?
Jason Mraz went to his school. Jason Mraz went to Longwood
The
University.
singer?
Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Good for him.
Longwood?
Longwood.
Good for him.
With famous alumni?
Yeah.
Sorted better. It would really help me out.
I can't wait to do my bracket over again.
Redo the whole thing. We're killing time
I
here,
just hate
so
looking at this.
we gotta get something here quick.
We can start the Padre talk.
Let's get into the Padres talk. All right. As we fully transition into Padres time, I do have to. What is your? Are you going to watch the game tonight? Tomorrow, 3 a.m. Are you watching the 3 a.m. game on Wednesday morning? William? Man, his internet sucks.
I want to be honest. I completely fucked up my time, and I thought it was going into Thursday morning.
No, it's literally like within hours.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I got you now.
No, I know. Can you guys hear me now? My computer just.
Yes,
it's in hours. I don't know if I'm gonna wake up for it. I probably will.
You
I don't
will?
know. It's ridiculous. It just feels like a glorified exhibition game.
Counts to the standings.
I know. That's what's so dumb. Yeah, I'm probably gonna watch it. Yes.
You are
Yeah.
at 3 a.m. You're not going to watch like the tape delay?
No, I
3 in
can't
the
do the tape
morning's
delay.
ridiculous, dude. I mean, you are setting yourself up for potentially getting up at 3 a.m. You Darvish giving up 8 runs in the first inning, and then the ball game
That's
being over.
exactly what I was
I'm just going to
thinking. I was like, are the Dodgers going to be up like 4-0, like after the second inning, where I'm just like, you know what? I'm not hyping up the Dodgers Padres matchup. I'm done doing that.
Don't do it.
Yeah, I'm done putting all my energy into it, and then us falling behind in the first inning. Like it has happened now, way too much. I'm just gonna. When was the
last time the San Diego Padres beat the Dodgers in his regular season series? Like end of the year series. I looked this up today because it came on our show.
Oh, you mean like the full season?
The full they beat the Dodgers more times in a year than the Dodgers beat them.
Year.
Yes. We've done it, by the way, 5 times total since 2000.
I'm going to take a stab at maybe what year was Adrian Gonzalez on the team? I don't know. 2006.
2006 was one of them, but it wasn't the latest. Nope. Do you want to guess the 5 years that the Padres beat the Dodgers in a regular season?
That is so bad, really. So that's not the most recent one.
No, it's not the most recent, but 2006 was one of them.
Okay.
Let me look this up to double check my work, but yes.
I mean, Matt, do you have one? 2010? Like
2010 was the last time.
That's what I was just thinking.
Padres beat the Dodgers in the regular season. That year, the Padres against LA went 10-8. They beat them by 2 games.
Over 500.
Over 500. That same year, they beat the Diamondbacks that season. They went 10-8 against the Diamondbacks. They went 10-8 against the Dodgers. They went 12-6 against the Giants. They missed the playoffs by 1 game. Remember, Matt Latos on Sunday could not beat the Giants. They had to sweep them in the 3-game series in San Francisco. They went 6-12 against the Rockies that year. missed the playoffs by 1 game. That was 2010. Before that, they beat the Dodgers. I'm pretty sure. If I take a look at it here, I think you had it right in 2007. I'm pretty sure they beat them in 2000 or 2006. I'm pretty sure they beat them in 07 too, if I'm not mistaken. 07, 10-8. 06, okay. They beat them. 05, they beat them. These are the dark days of the Los Angeles Dodgers. They beat them in 05. Oh, actually, no, they didn't beat them in 05. They beat them in 06, 07, 2010.
That has to be. I don't think they've won in the 20.
They beat them in 2003, the worst team ever in Padres history. In 2003, they went 11-8 against the Dodgers. And then they also got them in 2001, I think. Yeah, they got them in 2001, and I think got them in 2000 as well.
But that's the show. That's it. That's so depressing. They're so bad. God damn. Like, do you remember what year was it when they came to San Diego and they put like 15 on us?
On opening day, and then the next day, that was 16. That wasn't even that long ago.
16 or 17.
Didn't they knock around like Tyson Ross for like 16
Ross.
Runs in opening day? Just killed the vibe for the season.
Padres
didn't score their first run, so they went to the Rockies and put up 11 in Colorado.
They had to make up for it.
Yeah, exactly. They had to make up for the run differential was drastically changed. But you're not going to watch this. You're not going to set an alarm and get up.
I don't think so. I mean, I'm just being real because I can wake up. I'm sure my Twitter feed is going to be blown up from everyone talking about it.
Yeah.
And of course, in total Padres fashion too, because I wouldn't be watching it. There's some spectacular thing might happen. And of course I'll be sleeping. Like, it's just how my life is. Like,
here's the thing. If you wake up and they're losing or they already lost, you don't have to watch the game. It's like, oh, there's just not a loss. If you wake up and they won, then you can go back and watch how the game went. It's a win-win. I think the best strategy for watching the game.
Like, what are you doing? Like, you have a different circumstance because you actually have to work it. Pretty stoked for you guys. It looks like you get to go out like on a remote or something. But like,
I'm not doing a remote, but they are doing a watch party.
Okay,
this morning at 3 a.m. Tomorrow morning at 3 a.m. It'll start at 2 a.m. With the pregame show. I don't think Sammy's not going to be down there. He's going to be in the studio. They're going to do a watch party down at 7 Mile Casino, and then Ben and Woods are going to take over from 6 to 10, and then I got to do a show from 10 to 2 in the studio too. But it's open invite to go down there. I will not be partaking in that. Neither will Annie. It's a tough sell for me to drive down to 7 Mile Casino and watch the Padres and then go to football practice at 6 a.m. So, to me, the best strategy for watching this game, if you're really into it, you can't really pull it off now, but it was, you get home from work, immediately go to bed, take a nap. Because if you take a long nap during the day, what time do you usually wake up? Like 11, 12 at night, right? Mm-hmm. And then you could just start your day at 11 or 12 and then treat the game right in your morning. And then, you just crash around like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The thing that really deterred me from watching the game at 3 a.m. was the fact that I have to do a show at 10. Like, Chris Ello and Matt Scraby will be at the remote at the live event at 3 a.m. to about 6, but then they can go home and take sleep until 2 o'clock when they got their show. I have a 4-hour window to try to get some rest in before my own show that I know I'm going to be groggy about. So that's deterred me. But to me, the best strategy was get home from work today, go to sleep, wake up at like 11 or 12, just start your day at that point, watch the Padre game. And then after that, maybe go to work or whatever you have to do. And then do that again for Thursday's game, which is technically Friday in Korea. But that's how I would go about watching that. Are you going to watch it all?
No, I have no
desire,
no interest. I'll just record it and I'll throw it on at some point during my day tomorrow and be like, okay.
Cool. If this was last year, would you watch it?
Maybe. And
that's a great question.
If let's say the Cowboys were playing in Korea for some reason, I would get up at 3 a.m. to watch the Cowboys.
The NFL is different.
Yeah, because
it's probably going to be on a Saturday. Like, you're not going to be on a Thursday.
But still, the whole premise of it is, hey, you got to get your ass up or you got to stay up really late.
There's only 16 games though, too, for the 17 games of the NFL season. Where the Padres are going to play 160 more baseball games.
Yeah, and it's like they're also, they're playing like the Dodgers. Like, they will play again. They will play in Petco. They will play in LA. Like, it's not like this is a once in a lifetime deal like that. If you miss it, like, you're, shit out of luck.
My question about this was, why are they playing the game at 7 Korea time where they could play it at 11 a.m. and we can watch it like 8 o'clock p.m. or 7 o'clock?
The game's what time Korean time?
It's 7. It's a 16-hour difference. So they're playing at 7 p.m.
Okay.
So it's 3 a.m. our time.
So what time would you want them to play?
At 11 in the morning, their time.
Oh.
What does it matter? Like, if you're...
Oh, kind of like how they played yesterday?
Right. Like, who cares? Like, what are you catering to? Like, Korea got a game. Like, they should be stoked.
Yeah.
If FC Barcelona showed up and played Bayern Munich at Snapdragon Stadium, and it was a game that counted in the standings for like the Premier League or whatever, the Champions League, at 11 a.m., would you not go because it's at 11 a.m. if you had an opportunity to go?
No, I mean, I would still go, but I feel like I feel like when you're the team that's like that is being hosted by a country, you kind of got to play by the host country's rules, standards.
You don't.
You get what I'm saying?
Well,
I feel like it's just like the courteous thing to do.
You're giving them a game that counts in the standings. Most international properties come here and play a game that doesn't even count, and it's the C squad and the D squad.
Oh, and we're sending soccer.
Yeah, I mean that's the only thing that's relatively the same. It's the only sport that's not that the United States doesn't have the number one version of it. So I'm trying to make the comparison. Like, Korea is stoked they got the best level of baseball showing up. I don't think they're going to care if the game's at 11.
Well, they're going to think that, and they see the roster the Padres are rolling out. Then say, well,
dude, you got 3 stars on the top. Don't give me that. I got the opening there. But what's your thoughts on that, Will?
So while you guys were going back and forth, I was kind of just looking at the schedule. So the Padres' real home opener is the 28th versus the Giants, and I just started it, or I'm already getting like Padres pissed off already, and the season hasn't even started yet, and I'm just thinking how annoying it would be, because this obviously counts towards the standings. If we were to lose both games, go to the home opener at 0-2 already, I'm not saying that could be the case, but
it definitely could be the case. Let's not throw that out of the woodwork yet. That could 100% be the case.
I'm just trying to be optimistic about this year, and it's just to your guys' point. God, you asked the question just a bit ago. If this was last year, if this was 365 days ago,
yeah. If this was,
I would probably watch it. I would, because
I would be way more interested for sure.
I think that. So what are you? So are we implying that there's still a sour taste in our mouth from not only last season, the result of it, but with the unfortunate passing of our owner and just a really questionable offseason, even though we just got Cease from the White Sox? Is that kind of playing into, as well as the fact that it's at fucking 3:05 in the morning on a work day week, or a work day, that's.
Well, what's your excitement level for the Padres season? We asked this a couple of weeks ago.
I'm still excited.
Yeah, I was at a 5 or a 6. I might be at a 6.5, 7 with the addition of Cease. I think that changes things a little bit.
Yeah.
I think if they get Tommy Pham, it probably stays the same. He doesn't move me another notch
7.
up.
It's a 7 if
Tommy's back. Which I think he probably will sign with the Padres when they come back from Korea. But I just think the momentum of 2022 going into 2023 with the 4 stars, with the addition of Bogarts, I think people would have been extra fired up for it. I do think if they go 0-2, the Fan Fest on Sunday is going to suck. I don't think it's going to be nearly as fun. It's already going to I think it's going to take a hit because of last year. But I'm excited for the season. I'm just disappointed I got to watch the game at 3 a.m. Here's the other thing that kind of drives me nuts with the start time. I threw out the, why don't you just have the game at 11 or at a different time, push it back a little bit. And the reality is it's, they care about the East Coast watching this game more than they care about the Pacific Coast, even though the
100%.
East Coast doesn't care about the Padres playing the Dodgers anyway. But 6 a.m. is a whole hell of a lot different than 3 a.m. And people on the East Coast might, and the funny part is the national media members on the East Coast are bitching they have to get up at 6 a.m. to watch a game. And I'm like, it's our teams out here on the West Coast, and we're going to be up at 3 a.m. to watch these teams play. Why cater to the East Coast for this? They're not even going to watch anyway.
They always do. And that's what's so annoying about this. And I can guarantee you, well, you're already kind of reading it now, that the national perspective is obviously slanted towards the Dodgers. Like, how would you? I don't know if like right now, like how many games are we winning this year?
84.
I'm how many did you say?
I made my predictions the last couple of days. I think they win 84 games.
I was gonna say 87. I think that
That's
with the
wild.
addition of Cease, like maybe I'm just being optimistic. I think maybe the pressure is off this season. They obviously melted last year and could not handle any bit of the hype, which sucked. No, I want to say 86. I want to say 86 wins. Yeah.
I went through the playoff predictor, went through everybody's schedule. Like, they'll take 2 out of 3 here, sweep here, get swept here, whatever. I got 84 wins for the Padres. I had the Dodgers at 103 wins. I don't like picking teams over 100 or lose 100 because it's very difficult to do both of those things.
Yeah.
But this is how I had it played out with my predictions, and you can go through it if you want. I think this is more of a segment for next week, but I had the Padres winning 84 games and finishing 22 games out of first place, with the Dodgers winning 106 games. And I had the Padres in third, tied for third with the Giants, and just getting the Giants by having a head-to-head record against them and making the playoffs as the 6th seed. I think that's kind of like the middle ground for these guys. Let me know what you think. But to me, the floor for the Padres is 80 wins. The ceiling is 91.
Floor is probably like 78, 79.
I don't think they're going to be
Honestly,
that bad. I mean, just based on luck from last year, they can't possibly be that exceptionally worse. And their pitching staff's pretty good.
Well, the pitching staff was pretty damn good last year. For me, it's just their lack of depth. That is
their depth's not very good.
Like, you got to hope that your guys that have shown that they can't stay healthy for 162 games find a way to stay healthy for 162 games. And
much as we want to like look at the Padres from like the window of just San Diego and all the doom and gloom of all the holes, because we like analyze them every single day, look at the rest of the National League. There's 4 teams that are in the playoffs already, in my opinion. It's the Braves, the Phillies, the Dodgers, and whoever wins the Central, which is probably either the Cubs or the Cardinals. But I don't think whoever loses the Central is in the playoffs either. Those 4 already in. So now you're thinking about who you're competing with for the final 2 spots. Diamondbacks, Giants, okay? I think those are fair competitions. I think you stack up pretty well against the Giants, even with the addition of Blake Snell. The Diamondbacks could have a down year after, playing out their ass last year. But then look at the other teams. Are you afraid of Miami? I'm not afraid of Miami. I don't think Miami's very good. The New York Mets already said that they're not going to be competitive until 2026. They're going to be a dumpster fire. The Nationals suck. There's nobody in the Central I think is very good. I mean, who's your competition? I mean, just seriously. I mean, like the Reds. I think the Reds are going to be a lot better, but are you afraid of the Reds? If you stack the Padres up against the Reds, you sit there going like the Reds are going to beat them, more times than not.
I mean, for me, it's literally just like I've lost all. I don't want to say I've lost. I mean, I've lost a lot of faith in them to say like, hey man,
dude,
the Reds aren't great. The Reds aren't great. The Diamondback, like whatever.
Fire faithful, dude. You got to keep the faith, my guy.
Yeah, but like at the same time, it's like you got to go out there and like prove it. And given the lack, of impact players that this roster has right now compared to 365 days ago, I mean, I can't be like, hey, you know what? We're gonna take both series from the Cubs and be all right.
It's still a more talented roster than they've had. I mean, this roster is 10 times better than it was in 2010. In 2010, won 90 games, but seriously, like, I mean, it's baseball. Baseball's stupid and nobody should watch. It's dumb. There's like things that are going to work out and things that don't. I mean, if you flip the 1-run games from last year to this year, the team's probably in the playoffs, no problem, right? I mean, and those are all fluke situations. And trust me, I think the Padres are like a 3rd, 4th place team at best. I'm not super positive about their season, but if you start looking at who they have to be better than, it's not a insane task to make the playoffs if you're the Padres, especially with the addition of Cease.
So I was looking at FanDuel. So, I mean, the Dodgers for the NL exclusively. So they're a runaway favorite. This is to make the postseason, right? So the only teams ahead of the Padres to make the postseason, and the Padres are plus 120 to make the playoffs. Directly in front of them is the San Francisco Giants, the Cubs, the Cardinals, Phillies, Braves, and Dodgers in that order. The Diamondbacks are right below us at plus 125. So all those teams all those teams you just listed, obviously division winners, I don't know. I'm getting with the Central. So if you want to that's really a flip of a coin, honestly, between the Cubs and Cardinals.
The
But
fact
like
that the Diamondbacks are behind the Padres is shocking to me.
plus 125. Cincinnati Reds plus 130.
What were
Which
the
is
Padres at?
the Padres are plus 120 to make the postseason right now. And the Giants are plus 115. I think the Giants are solid. I think obviously the Dodgers, I hate giving them their flowers, but they're a good team. You mentioned that the ceiling was 91 wins. That's pretty high, to be honest. I would have said 88 or 89. I don't know if they can crack
Everything
that.
goes well for them, they can win 91 games. And I mean, like, Fernando is Fernando.
Okay,
Machado has a, high Machado year, and Bogarts has a bounce back year. Jake Cronenworth is the guy that you gave money to. Luis Camposano can catch every single day and contribute with the bat. You get, Jackson Merrill is everything.
Does he win Rookie of the Year? Like that.
Well, I don't think he has to win Rookie of the Year for them to win 91 games, but he has to be like insane.
He has to play 100 games. Like he's going to have to stay healthy.
And then your rotation's got to stay healthy, and then your bullpen's got to not be a circus. I mean, there's a lot of things that would have to like go right. But if all those things do go right, they can win 91 games with the team that they have.
It's just hard for me to believe that the Diamondbacks are going to replicate what they did last year. I think they overachieved, and they're a very good team, obviously, and they have a great system in the farm. But I mean, it's such a crapshoot. But with the addition of Cease, because we didn't get to talk about that last week, just really fast, like that, we won the trade, right? I mean, that now the perspective of the season, there's a glimmer of hope, right? There's a little better, I guess, outlook with that, because before that, it was very concerning.
Well, I mean, the hope is it's each 3-game series you go into, you got a real shot at taking 2 of 3 100%. Because you're going to get some form of the 4 of Darvish, Musgrove, Cease, and King, which I think I'm higher on King than most people are just because of his stuff.
He's projected to be like an ace, like when the Yankees had him.
I mean, I would not be surprised, and I said this to Braden, but maybe a little bit different now with the addition of Cease, that King could be your best pitcher by the trade deadline, by like the All-Star break.
Let me ask you this, Matt. Are those 4 better than the 4 you had last year? I mean, you had a Cy Young Award winner last year.
Well, you did have a Cy Young Award winner last year, but then you had Musgrove, who was hurt. Beginning of the year. Darvish regressed. Walker was good, but he was hurt. Right? So it's like
Seth Lugo.
Good, but he was hurt.
And that rotation was really good.
It was great. I mean, they had one of the best earned run averages.
I think the rotation is better.
It is better.
If Musgrove and Darvish can be healthy, it's just already going to be better because they're going to be better versions of themselves being healthy.
Right.
I think King is better than anybody that they had last year, with the exception of Snell, obviously. And then Dylan Cease is an ace level Cy Young
guy was second
level
in Cy
pitcher,
Young
right?
Two years ago.
He battled some injuries last, and the guy gives you innings. It's not like Snell where he's going to go 4 innings, right? I mean, he's going to give you 7 innings. He's going to get you 200 innings a year, and he's a high strikeout guy.
Yeah. So I mean, like
30+ starts.
Like, he's 4 guys like throwing for you. I mean, that gives you a reason to be hopeful going into each series that like you can take him.
Right.
But you just got to hope that, I mean, you just don't have
healthy.
The same thing when it comes to last year when it comes to how guys can stay healthy, because Randy Vasquez and Johnny Brito and Matt Waldron is a far drop off from.
Right. I got the 26-man roster for the next 2 games. They had to submit it by 7 o'clock. It's 8 o'clock. Here's your right-handed pitchers. Johnny Brito, Yu Darvish, Daniel De Los Santos, Jeremiah Estrada makes the team with the departure of Steven Wilson to Chicago. Michael King, Stephen Kolek, who, by the way, has to stay on the team the entire year. He's a Rule 5 draft pick. Joe Musgrove, Robert Suarez, and Randy Vasquez. Your left-handers, Tom Cosgrove, Yuki Matsui, Adrian Morahone, and Wandy Peralta. Woo Suk-go did not make the 26-man roster in Korea. Interesting.
Ooh.
Dylan Cease is not on it either, but he wasn't going to pitch in these 2 games, so you might as well leave him off so you can have an extra pitcher in on your staff. So I'm curious to see who gets booted when Cease gets added to the team next week. But that's your pitching staff. I think the bullpen has the ability to be a top 5 bullpen in baseball. They don't have the lights out closer, but they do have 3 to 4 guys that can close, and they do have a lot of high-powered arms back there. They got a lot of for lacking depth pretty much everywhere on this team, their bullpen depth's very high. They got a lot of arms that they can go with.
Barring injury, which is always
Well, I mean, everybody's barring
plagued
injury.
us in the past.
I mean, I don't like the fact that I don't have like a Nick Martinez type back there, but you know, I like Randy Vasquez. I mean, I don't know what you're gonna do with it. Johnny Brito,
Tom Cosgrove.
Yeah, he looked
come
really
out of
good.
the pen.
You know, hopefully, you know, other teams don't figure him out. I'm curious to see what Adrian Morejon does this year. I mean, isn't it about time he's like the guy that people thought he was going to be?
Oh, I mean, that would be huge.
I mean, it only took half a decade, but yeah, you know, we
he's
preach patience in San Diego.
24, 25.
He's still Perez's age. He's a young buck.
Yeah.
They did not keep Sullivan. You surprised by that? We get to the position players.
Slightly. I mean, he was.
He was the left-handed hitter that they were going to use behind.
He was a left-handed hitter, and he
Cronenworth.
was the third catcher, and he was also the emergency one-bagger.
I don't like having 3 catchers.
No, but that's why they were having to play first.
Right. Well, they needed something else. But here's any other thoughts on the pitching staff, Will?
No, I just think back to the starting rotation. I mean, is King the X factor? Like, if he can somehow
in the rotation,
yeah. I mean, obviously,
I think the X factor is your 5. They didn't keep Waldron, by the way.
Really? Wow.
So they obviously are going to go with Britos or 5, unless they're like, we're not going to pitch Waldron out of relief or something. And left them off, but you know, I'm not super sold on Waldron. I think you take your chances with Brito or Vasquez. I think Vasquez could be pretty good for the Padres, but with the addition of Cease, maybe Vasquez goes down to AAA and logs or AA and logs some innings.
Yeah, don't
send benefit. Yeah,
don't ever send a good pitcher to PCL.
No, I mean that's it. I mean that's basically touched all of it. I'm very curious, Brady. I wouldn't have pegged you as having 91 wins as the ceiling.
The ceiling, dude. I'm talking about like the best they could possibly do.
I know. I don't. Maybe it's just a sour taste.
They're not going to be like abysmal. I mean, they're going to be okay. I think the camaraderie thing has been huge for these guys. I think Joe Musgrove leading the charge has been huge for these guys. I think there's a lot of
they need that presence
where they can, you know, kind of box out the drama in the front office and everything and just focus on themselves. And I think a lot of them have the right attitude this year. I think a lot of them are pissed after last year. I like the new fire of Mike Shildt. I mean, Mike Shildt is a different manager than Bob Melvin. And I like Bob Melvin. Mm-hmm. Bob Melvin's the passive, let the veterans do their thing, and Mike Shilt's the fiery guy. Let's go kick some ass. And I think that's something this team, you know, probably needs. But overall, you know, that's why I have them at 91 wins as a ceiling. Again, I picked 84, you know, for the regular season. Let's get to the pitching, or let's get to the position players because I know we got to watch rip them. Catchers: Luis Camposano, Kyle Higashioka. That's pretty chalk. I don't think there's going to be any surprises there. Infielders: Xander Bogaerts, Jake Cronenworth, Hassan Kim, Manny Machado, Graham Pauley, Eggy Rosario, Tyler Wade. That sets up for a lot of holes in your bench, by the way. The Padres might have, I'm going to say this right now, the Padres might have the worst bench in all of baseball.
You need veterans coming off that bench.
And they have 0. Outfielders, they kept 4. Azakar, Merrill, Profar, and Tatis. So Merrill's going to start probably in center field. Azakar will be your 4th outfielder, probably getting some reps with Jerks and Profar because they don't want Profar to be the everyday left fielder. And Fernando Tatis Jr., obviously. Brett Sullivan and Woo Suk-Go, by the way, option to AAA El Paso. So they're not even part of the conversation next week. And just kind of recap, Pedro Avila, Dylan Cease, and Matt Waldron are designated as Soul Series extras. So they're not optioned out in AAA. They're just those extra pieces that they potentially need just in case of emergency, like a playoff roster would be. But anyway, if you look at that infield, got a lot of stars in your starting spots, and then it just really falls off with Pauly, Rosario, and Wade. I know a lot of people are talking great about Graham Pauley, you know, and Eddie Rosario. You know, Tyler Wade's had a good spring, but the reality is, until they prove it at the major league level, they're just, again, prospects with a lot of stories behind them, if you will.
Who are you most confident rolling out at third base then? Like between those 3, like
in terms of like lineup and playing third base.
I get, yeah. I mean, between Paulie, Rosario, and Wade, I don't
don't
I don't know
know.
what I'm getting. Like with Rosario, he said.
No, not Rosario. It'd be Paulie or Wade, but I'd probably go with Tyler Wade. He had a better spring than Paulie did. Assuming Manny's DHing, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't, unless like I'm not seeing any report. Did we get an update on that? Like, I don't know when he's going to start, fielding balls.
As Mike McCoy would say, you will know who's playing third base when he runs out there when the game starts.
Mike McCoy, man, what
Ball
an
coach
era.
McCoy. Ball coach McCoy, my guy.
Oh,
Perez, who you put at third? Tony yesterday on Gwynn and Chris said if he had to go with somebody, he's probably leaning. They're probably gonna go with Paulie.
It's interesting. I'd probably go Wade, although Paulie gives you a left-handed bat.
Right.
But you got more experience with Wade there. So I would lean him.
Facing two righties in Korea.
Yeah.
I'd go Wade too over Paulie just because, and Paulie was a college guy too. It's not like he was super young. So he developed in college a little bit before he went through the ranks, but you're rushing Paulie, you're rushing Merrill. I think Merrill is going to be a good player again, but I think Padres fans need to be patient with him, just in case. He's a contact hitter. Here's the other thing too, like in the Korea series, I think it's interesting. They played 2 games against the Korean teams, right? The national team and then the LG Twins, who won the league last year. And what has the comparison been for Korea?
Call it like double
A, right?
Level.
And
double A. Yeah.
What is the thing that everybody says about the players from Korea or even Japan coming over from the KBO and the Nippon Baseball League is what do they have to catch up on? Fastball, because the fastball is super, super soft. I mean, you look at those exhibition games, guys like Bogarts and Machado and, the big time guys that haven't faced double A pitching in forever were way out in front of everything. Meanwhile, Jackson Merrill looked really good tagging the 92-mile-an-hour fastballs. And now
so did Hassan Kim. Guy had 2 pumps yesterday.
That's right. Of course he had 2 pumps.
The guy loves the KBO pitching.
He's the king.
But you're a little concerned about having your entire lineup go against some soft-throwing Korean pitchers, and then you face Tyler Glasnow tomorrow?
No, I mean, that's
this guy's going to be pumping it.
Two games there compared to what they've been facing in spring training games and backfields and
we'll see
what they're used to.
Yeah, I'm not worried about Bogarts, Machado, and Tatis. I am more concerned about the other guys, the young guys. They're about to see some.
I think they've seen enough of it all around where it's like, all right.
But
you might have to take two
pitches
and then it's time to rock.
It's a quick flip. You get playing a couple of guys back to back that are soft throwers, and then you got to go back to the speed. Might be.
Does Jackson Merrill get a hit tomorrow? Would you bet on him getting a base hit tomorrow?
I would.
I would too.
You would? You could see like a 1-for-3, maybe with a walk.
Yeah. He's a contact hitter. So like he's MLB The Show. You're swinging with circle a lot with Jackson Merrill. He's gonna
swing with X.
I always swing with X, but I think he's gonna maybe take a outside pitch the other way, maybe pulling something inside,
the other side.
Getting off speed, But here, the thing with Merrill is he's going to, like most young players, they're going to give him the fastball, see if he can hit it. All Major League Baseball teams are going to be throwing the fastball, see if he can hit it, and so he's going to be seeing a lot of fastballs. And then once he hits the fastball, they're going to start throwing in that big league change, the big league curve, the big league slider, and see if he can hit that. And then that's kind of how they figure out how to go against some of these young players. So I think early he's going to be hitting some fastballs, looking fastballs, see it, swing it, and get a couple of hits. And then, we'll see how he does in the first month of the year when teams start slowly adjusting to him, and whether or not he can make that adjustment at his age to flip it back and adjust from the adjustment for Major League Baseball will really determine what kind of a year he's going to have. Again, if he starts in center field in a couple of hours, because we don't have the lineup yet, obviously, he will be the 3rd Major League Baseball player to start for a team on opening day in center field under the age of 21 since Andrew Jones and Ken Griffey Jr. Hall of Famer, Hall of Fame ballot guy. Is he that level of a prospect, or the Padres rushing him a little bit? I mean,
Padres rushing him a little bit.
Yeah, the latter,
mean,
man. Like, come on.
100%, dude.
Andrew Jones, his first 8 years, like, I mean, that guy was Hall of Fame. That guy was at Griffey level.
Right.
Like, that would mean, like, if you're putting Jackson Merrill in that category, you want him to come in and be Ronald Acuna.
Right.
Essentially.
He needs to go. He needs to be Fernando in his
Yeah, he
first
needs to be
year and just
Fernando.
put on a show. And he's
Right.
not a power guy either.
Right.
He's not a power swinger.
And it's a position he's never played.
I'm going to ask you this question too, to kind of like preview the season, because I know we got to get going here. The Padres traded away 52 home runs to New York with Juan Soto and Trent Grisham. And they have replaced those particular players with guys that don't hit a lot of home runs. Where are the Padres going to make up those home runs? Or are they not going to make up those home runs?
I think it's a 2-part answer.
Okay.
Fernando's going to give you more home runs than he had last year.
I would agree
He's
with
going to
that.
have another
Well, here,
year to be healthy.
Let me ask you this. Who would be the favorite on the Padres to hit 30 home runs?
Fernando,
100%. Who's number 2?
Manny.
Do you think Manny hits 30 home runs?
He probably
gets close.
Probably hit 29.
Who's number
I'd say
3 on your
27.
list?
Who's number 3?
I'd go with Xander at that point. Not to say he did. Who's hitting 30 home runs after those two guys? Who's the most likely that you have to put money on to hit 30 home runs? It's probably Xander.
Has he ever hit more than 30 home runs in his career?
I think he maybe done it one time. I mean,
Fenway, you just put the ball in the air and
he's not. I mean, he's a doubles guy. He's not a home run guy, but he would be my next pick. No, he hit 33 in 2019.
Oh, wow, good year for him. That was 5 years ago.
Seriously,
I don't think he would replicate that.
You'll get Fernando had what 25 last year, somewhere like 22, 25-ish. He'll get 30. He'll probably hit 10 more. Let's say 32. Somewhere in the 32 to 35.
How many hit that
range.
one season?
43, I think he had.
With the ringworm?
Yeah.
This is an expensive haircut.
I mean, I feel like the way that they've kind of pieced this roster together with not trying to go out and get a big time home run hitter, it's going to be a lot more gap to gap, hit and run, contact style, where you're going to be replacing your runs from home runs with prolonged innings and doubles in the gap or down the line.
I'd almost
that style.
rather have that than the solo shots.
Well, I mean, that style is better for where you're playing. I mean, you're playing in Petco Park.
Right.
You're not playing in the Great American Bandbox.
Petco Park is designed for guys like Yonder Alonso, who's a gap-to-gap hitter.
Right.
Doubles
so it wouldn't.
guy.
I mean, it wouldn't make sense. Like, grab 3 sluggers.
Right. Like the
throw
Rockies.
in the middle of your line, be like, hey,
the Rockies just get power guys. They're gonna hit the ball out of Coors Field.
Yeah, exactly.
Constantly. But that being said, I mean, they do have a major hole there because, Jackson Merrill's most home runs he's ever hit in the minor leagues was 15. There's people that think they could hit like 30 home runs. I mean, he's not going to hit 30 pumps in the show in his first year when he's only hit 15. Last year was his most that he ever hit. You're not getting, you'd be lucky to get 12 out of Profar.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the outfield right now.
Yeah, but he's going to give you what, like 15?
Hey.
Like 15 home runs?
Who, Profar?
Fam.
No, Fam.
Oh, Fam.
Like 15, maybe. I mean, he's 36 now. He just turned 36.
I would say 12.
12 out of Fam, 12 out of whatever. How many does Kim get you? Like 15?
15, 17.
15 to 18. If it would be to your scenario of like the perfect, 91 win ceiling season, he would have to hit like 20 home runs, Kim, and win like another Gold Glove, right? Like, but that's
like they said the same thing about like Jackson Merrill. Like people were like, well, if he could hit 250 and hit like 20 home runs, like he'll be really good. Yeah, 20 home runs.
20 home runs is solid
because
year.
It was. Well, think about it. Like the comparison with Jackson Merrill replacing Trent Grisham, right? You're replacing a Gold Glove center fielder. And you're like, well, as long as he hits 14 home runs and 200, he'd be better than Trent Grisham because Trent hit 13 home runs and a $198 batting average.
Yeah, but if
he's not going to hit 13 home runs. He might hit 240, maybe like 240 average, but that's a weird comparison.
If he comes out here and hits 200, it's going to be, oh my God, just imagine everything you'd be hearing. About how, he got rushed to the bigs, another guy couldn't develop. it's
Have you
this, that, and the
seen
third.
Have you seen his stats compared to CJ Abrams' AA stats?
Yeah, we talked about
They're
it.
almost identical. So would you be okay with Jackson Merrill having his first season be the same numbers that CJ Abrams had in a Padres?
Fans go down there and say, "Oh, he seems to be better than a guy that hit 200." Like,
That's
that sounds super optimistic. And then if it happens and it goes, well, I can't believe you only hit 200.
Right, exactly.
Like we need answers. Preller did a bad job trying to find a guy. Like,
Let's say he does what Abrams did. It's 232. Are you excited about that?
I mean, it's 230. I mean, it's probably what he's going to hit.
Right.
I mean, the fact he's more of a contact guy, he might get to 240, but like you can't come out here and expect him to be Freddie Freeman.
Oh, 100%.
Off the rip.
In 2022, with his stats with the Nationals in his first year at big league ball, CJ Abrams hit 246 with 2 home runs and 21 RBIs. Do you want that out of your starting center fielder?
No.
Is that successful of a season for a center fielder? I mean, what's the difference between that and Trent? He gets on base more times, like he gets more base hits, but Trent's driving in more runs with his stick. He's hitting the ball over the fence. Pop. You're getting a Gold Glover and a power hitter compared to a slap hitter. We don't know if he's going.
But I think it goes back to the whole ballpark situation.
I agree with that. What's your win total then?
85.
85. I'm at 84.
85 is because Michael King's going to carry you.
All right. Well,
I chose 86 wins earlier. I'm going to stay there. I'm just looking at all these stats now. So, granted, they play different positions and will debut as rookies at different positions. So, I'm looking at Tatis's rookie season. So, he played in 84 games. He hit 22 home runs, had a 317 batting average. I'm trying to think, can Jackson Merrill replicate that?
No. I say no. I mean, that would be a hell of a year. I hope he plays more than 84 games. I can tell you that.
I hope he plays more than that. That's the biggest one I'm looking at. Like home runs and batting average, they are what they are. And look, if he exceeds
154 OPS plus, that would be exceptional for Jackson Merrill.
I just like, if he's going to make this debut, like he's got to play 92 to like 100 games. Like I need that from him. Like, and because didn't Tatis get hurt? He had like the shoulder subluxation, whatever, like in August. I remember
he got
that.
Hurt, like,
and
every one of those years. 2020 was like the only year he played the entire year, but there was only 60 games. So, Matt Perez, the San Diego Padres will make the playoffs if
they will make the playoffs. If your big three give you 25 plus home runs, 80 plus RBIs, and have an OPS plus at around 140 plus each.
It's pretty high expectations.
Well, look at their contracts.
With the OPS plus for sure.
You gotta look at their contracts.
Right. They need to have bounce back years. Will the San Diego Padres make the playoffs
if Dylan Cease finishes at least second in Cy Young voting, and offensively, Fernando hits 35 plus home runs?
I have no doubt in my mind. I think Xander Bogaerts is going to have a bounce back year. I think Manny's going to be fine. I think Fernando's going to have a really good year in his age 25 season. The San Diego Padres will make the playoffs if Jake Cronenworth plays like 2020 Jake Cronenworth, because they have a lot of money riding on him being their best left-handed bat. And he's currently in a lot of the batting orders, batting third on his team.
When
he is a major
you asked that
factor.
Question just now about hitting 30 home runs, and I said Fernando and then Manny. The next guy I thought it was Cronenworth.
But it
Bogaerts.
Has to be him.
I mean, but like he's not a power guy, but like that's the guy that you would ideally want it to be.
It's your first baseman,
left-handed hitter, one bagger. I mean, his swing. I mean, the swing that he's been showing the last couple of years is pull side power.
Yeah,
but
it's not with 10 pumps.
Yeah, exactly.
17 pumps.
But it's like, hey, that'd be a great guy to get 30 out of. Holy hell.
If Jake Cronenworth can play like 2021 All-Star Jake Cronenworth, the Padres will make the playoffs. I think they could potentially make a run in the playoffs if he can do that. I think a lot of this season is riding on him. And I think a lot of this season, I honestly, I don't think it's riding on Merrill. And I don't think it's riding on the top three. I think it's riding on a guy like Jake Cronenworth and whether or not the starting rotation can stay healthy. I think is the two major factors for the Padres this season. What do they got to do to win in Korea? Crapshoot. Does it really matter?
Crapshoot.
It's a crapshoot because you're playing in a different country.
Yeah.
The other team's playing in a different country. It's just I think they split. That's my prediction. I think they split.
You think they'd take game 2? Dodgers take game 1?
I think the Padres could take game 1 just to give people a false sense of excitement. No, I swear to God. It's super Padre, right? Like
Will wakes up pissed off he didn't get up for the game.
Right. The last 2 seasons, did they win the game? Did they win game 1 last year?
No, that was a Rocky game.
Yeah, they lost that game, right?
Yeah.
So, like, the last 2 years when they're expected to do really well, they lost. Remember, Bob Suarez had the game in Arizona where he blew the night.
Bob Suarez
debut cost the Padres opening day.
That was after like Darvish went like 7 no-hit innings or something crazy. Yeah.
And then last year it was just so flat. Again, expectation. This year there's not a lot of expectations. The fans are excited but not that excited. Dodgers are going to be like way better than everybody else. I can see the Padres winning in the next couple of hours, like 4-1, and then people are going parade in the street, showing that
the meme
exactly
60,000 at FanFest.
And then this is going to happen, and then the next game, Dodgers win like 16-2. People are like, yeah, it doesn't matter. We split. We're still tying for first. We're going
to get back to the States,
right? That's my prediction. I think they go 1-1. I think they win the first one. I think they lose the second one. Split?
I think they lose.
That's the other way. They probably split. They lose.
They lose tonight. Lose the first game. Win tomorrow. When the Dodgers don't care anymore.
One.
Well, then I'm going to go. God, I don't want to say we get swept.
That's probably the best bet out of the group.
You're the betting guy. Tell me the
come
odds.
On, what are the odds, huh?
Well, I wanted to take the split.
You could take a split. It doesn't.
I just hate having the same answer. No, I think we lose both. I want to say it. We're going to be something. I don't know. It's just weird. I'm excited, but like this, I don't know what I'm supposed to feel right now. I still feel wronged in a way.
Will's the type of guy that he has like exactly what he wants on the menu, and then somebody else orders the exact same thing, and so he has to. He can't do it. He has 100%. To just scrap everything,
100%.
and he's got to pick something else. Otherwise, he's the schmuck that copied the other guy at the table. Doesn't look like he has any originality himself, and he ends up eating something he doesn't want to eat because Matt Perez wanted the eggs Benedict.
And I should have just said what I wanted to begin with. No, I think it is a crapshoot. I don't know what to expect. I really don't. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if the Padres won 10-2, but that's extremely unlikely. I don't know.
What's on the menu? Come on, we got to pick something here, buddy.
I think we split. I think we lose the first one. I think Glasnow is going to mow through most of the lineup because they haven't seen pitching like that all spring. And then they bounce back, win, get on the plane, and get back to San Diego.
First Padres home run.
It's got to be hot someone in Korea.
Oh, right. Do the Padres homer in Korea?
No,
I think
in Korea.
I'm gonna take Jake Cronenworth. I'm going to say it's always a guy we never expect. Like, everyone's going to put Tatis or Machado or both. Like, I'm going to say Cronenworth or
Campusano.
I hit it last year with Xander. Xander hit the first one. If I'm not mistaken.
Didn't
they take forever to hit a home run last year?
I like the I'm going to go. It would be so Padres to have Jackson Merrill hit a home run against the built. I might just go crazy on the limb. I'm going to play plus 2,500 Jackson Merrill first Padre at a home run this year. No, that's stupid. I can't do that. He's hit 15 home. He hit 15 home runs in the minors last year. He's not going to do that. It's
going to be like with who? Kim.
He picked Kim. Who do you pick? Cronenworth.
I'll take Crone.
I'll take Fernando.
I think he starts hot.
I'll take Fernando. Fernando MVP season. Starts in a couple.
Oh, yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
I agree.
Throw on that now.
If he wins the MVP, they win the division?
No.
No.
If he wins MVP, they're the first wild card.
What would have to happen for the Padres to win the division?
You need the meteor to hit
That's what I
Dodger
was-
Stadium like
Godzilla
next
shows
week.
up and destroys the Dodgers have to forfeit their entire year for some,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
they got
Fernando is
for illegal recruiting or something.
yeah. They gotta get like
for tampering.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna post everything.
for-
on- You got another thing?
Yeah, I got one more thing. Are you working Sunday, FanFest?
No,
No.
I'm supposed to, but I haven't said that I can't do it now. Yeah.
Well, what's your thoughts on FanFest? Are you a pro FanFest guy?
I can't answer that anyway. I'm gonna be corporate about it.
Fernando plus 1,000 to win MVP. By the way, just saying, 10
Get
to
it
1
now?
odds.
That's free money.
That's outstanding.
That's free money.
It's like an investment. That's better than the market.
FanFest is
no.
cool. It's chill.
Would you pay money to go to FanFest? I know it's free, but would you pay money to go to FanFest?
No,
Neither would I.
because I'm only
No.
going there for the garage sale.
The garage sale's money. You're gonna get there super early.
I'd get there early for a Nick Martinez jersey, Nick Martinez nameplate.
I like the concept of fan. I think the Padres this year have made FanFest better with like doing like some events and stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
Like the softball game's kind of cool, and then like to me, any type of question and answer with the players, I think is cool.
The more like interaction, the better compared to like watching and observing. You're already watching and observing when you go to a game.
Correct.
You want to have some sort of
There needs to be some interaction, not just like a Comic-Con where you're just there to buy shit.
right.
And even though the garage sale's great, to go wait in line to buy stuff is kind of lame. And the other thing too is like obviously they do the autograph thing. It's first come first serve. And they sell like 100 autographs. You got to go get in line, go find like the big guys,
Right.
and people get upset about that. But it's like
I remember doing that
you're playing with fire with that.
Yeah.
Like you might get lucky because the other thing too is like you'll stand in line, they'll just rotate somebody. So like you could be standing in line for we'll get like Jackson Merrill and then flip and you're the first in line for Fernando out of nowhere. You're like, oh, sick. I would say pro. I mean, it's kind of fun. It's cool. Little kickoff to the year.
Yeah.
Could be worse. All right. That'll
All
do
right.
it.
That's it.
That's longer than most radio shows.
This is March.
This is March.
Will. We sleep in May.
A full preview of March Madness. We got a preview of the Major League Baseball season with the Padres. Next week, we'll make our predictions for the entire season for all the teams in Major League Baseball and kind of recap the first week of the NCAA tournament. He's Matt Perez. That's Will Galvez. I'm Braden Surprenant signing off. This is Why Start a Podcast and Gaslamp Media.